HackOut yet, you don't know what you're missing out on.
Startup Weekend HackOut is the world's first LGBTQIA Startup Weekend event.
My name is Lindsay Nguyen, and I can tell you from personal experience, you should absolutely come to HackOut. You won't be disappointed.
The hardest part of starting up is starting out, and our mission is to inspire entrepreneurs in the LGBTQIA community to learn the ropes of validating an idea for a startup and turn that idea into a full-blown business venture. In just 54 hours, you'll experience the highs, lows, fun, and pressure that make up life at a startup. As you learn how to create a real company, you'll meet the very best mentors, investors, co-founders, and sponsors who are ready to help you get started.
Hello, Robbie.
Hello, Julian. How are you?
We finally made it to Sunday. It's been a wonderful weekend. How are you feeling?
I am feeling fantastic. I am so excited to see the final pitches, and I'm really excited because this is being broadcasted on YouTube and Facebook Live, so more people can even see.
You know, just 2 days ago, we had a bunch of people who had never met each other before, and we were separated by across the country. And now we've got a number of teams that formed this weekend, and we're ready to see a really exciting evening of pitches. We have the final 5 teams pitching. We've got an evening of performers with great LGBT performances, and we're giving away $5,000 in cash prizes to the winning team. So it's going to be a wonderful evening. Yes, and look at our performers. The performances we have tonight are coming from Divinity Roxx, Grammy-nominated bassist who used to tour with Beyoncé, and Karina Magyar as a comedian. So looking forward to seeing both those performances. But those aren't the only. This isn't the only value of HackOut. In addition to that $5,000 prize, the participants get a lot more out of HackOut, don't they?
Yeah. So we talked about this at the beginning of the weekend, but hopefully all of our participants have walked away with a couple new skills, such as validating an idea, understanding if it has a place or a home in the market, learning a new skill, whether it's sharpening something that they've already been working on, or trying something entirely new. Or perhaps they met a co-founder and they're building a team, and after this event, they'll go on to continue to work on their company. So there's a lot more to this than the cash prizes. And if any of this sounds interesting to our larger audience, consider attending next year. We also Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, we had so many pre-event sessions. Some great individuals came in to speak about different aspects of entrepreneurship. Some of those ideas that we spoke about, they have been all recorded so they can be found online. So our participants can review those at a later time in case they missed one, or if they want to go back and in case they heard something and they want to review it. We're also going to be keeping the Slack channel online so people can continue to stay in touch and be part of a community because the best is yet to come even after this 54-hour sprint.
You know what we should do, Robbie, though? We should probably introduce ourselves. So, hi. My name is Julian. I'm an iOS developer based in San Diego, California, and I've been involved with HackOut for the past 3 years.
And I am Robbie Catherine Anthony. I was the HackOut 2019 winner, and I'm the executive director of Solace.
So happy to have you back now from a participant to actually hosting the event this year.
I know.
And actually, what happened with your team? Last year you pitched an idea and you won, and then?
It's my full-time job now. We've got multiple employees. We are the largest platform of our kind in the world. So it's really been interesting to see going from an idea back in April of 2019 to it all being full circle now. And this is my life now. So the magic of HackOut is very real.
Great. Well, let's show people what people have been doing this weekend. So what we did this weekend is we created this mural board, which is a great online space where all the teams can collaborate in one virtual space. And what we asked all the teams to do was fill out this mural board. So on this board, you'll see that each team has a column. At the beginning of the weekend, this was all blank. And as we went through the weekend, teams filled in who their team members were, what their problem statement was, what their solution is, what their value proposition is, what their logo is. All this that you can see was created by the teams in just one weekend. And we're great to, and the other cool thing about this mural board was, even though we're all separated by this virtual event, because we couldn't do it in person this year, unfortunately, but we had this common community space where we felt like we had some connection with each other, right?
Yeah, it was amazing to see all the cursors flying around. And then we had all the different hop-in events and the Zoom. It was truly, truly a fantastic event. And out of that came these different teams, actually.
So, yeah, congratulations to all the teams that jumped in and participated this weekend. They produced so much this weekend. You can see that some of the list of all the teams that were part of this weekend. And tonight we'll see the final 5 teams making their presentations. But none of this would have been possible without the amazing organizing team that came together to volunteer to make this happen. So Robbie and I are 2 visible faces of the team, but there's a big team behind that. And I'm going to invite Desmond and Taylor up to introduce their team and thank our sponsors as well. Hi, Taylor. Hi, Desmond.
Desmond looks like he's muted again. It's been the fun thing of the weekend. Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor McCaslin, and I'm one of your co-organizers. And we've got my amazing fellow co-organizer, Desmond, here. Hi, Desmond.
Hi there. It wouldn't be like a Zoom call at all if I wasn't muted. So sorry about that. So happy to be here, though. You want to kick it off?
Yeah, absolutely. So this event is something very special to us. We've been working on this for over a year. When we started, we thought we were going to do this event in person, and here we are now in a digital environment. We've glued 500 tools together to make this event happen and give it the same feel as if we were in a room together. And truly, it could not be done without our amazing team. I want to give a shout out to Julian and Robbie, who have been the energy, the face of this event all weekend. Thank you so much. We could not have done it without you. And I think, you know, when you see Robbie as a participant last year and then actually creating a business around the idea that won 2019 and now joining us as a co-organizer and facilitator, like, that is truly exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. So we do have an amazing team of programming committee. Here are their wonderful faces. Like I said, we've been working on this for over a year, and we have a huge number of dedicated advisors and experts who have been guiding the teams all through the weekend. Desmond, anything you want to add?
You said it all. I don't even have to be here. This is amazing.
So yeah,
Awesome.
I mean, the faces that we need to thank are just endless here. They just keep going, and everyone that you're seeing is LGBTQ, which is one of my favorite parts of this event. We're all here learning, growing, and starting businesses together. And truly, this event is something special for the Austin Programming Board. We have been working on this for so long. We are happy and proud to present HackOut to you. Desmond, you want to cover StartOut?
Yeah, so StartOut is a national nonprofit that aims to help LGBTQ entrepreneurs across the U.S. They aim to increase the number of diverse, entrepreneurs across the U.S. So we are the local Austin chapter, but there are many different chapters that you can join and talk to if you are in other cities. So I encourage you to go look at their website. But this is an Austin chapter event, and we're really proud to have everyone pull together to make this happen.
Well, we hope you really enjoy this event. We're going to hear a quick word from a member of the StartOut national team, Tony, who will talk about our sponsors. Here's a message from him.
Hey there, StartOut HackOut family. I want again to give a special thanks to our corporate sponsors who could make this event happen today. I would like to give a special thanks to HEB, to Visa, to Indeed, to Home Depot, to Twilio, Google, Capital One, and Miro for helping us make this event a success. Without their support, none of the funding could be available to be able to create this program and a safe environment for any LGBTQ plus entrepreneurs to be able to work in a safe environment and learn and grow. Also, I again want to thank all of these companies, volunteers who could help make this happen. All of these companies have had preliminary judges, mentors, and advisors play a role throughout this event. Special thanks to all of you. And again, on behalf of everybody at StartOut, I hope you all had a good weekend, and thank you for your support.
Fantastic. It really takes a much larger team to put something like this together. But now that we have gotten all that out of the way, let's start talking about the competition itself, what we're all gathered here for. So we have some fantastic judges joining us tonight, but they do have a criteria. It's the same criteria that we used for an earlier round, in which they will be evaluating these fledgling companies on. We have validation, in which how much they have gone into the market, understood if there's a product fit for it, if there's a home for it, really understanding if there's people willing to pay for their solution. The second is a presentation, making a articulate and logical presentation in terms of how this fits. It's definitely hard to do behind a webcam, so major props for everyone who's putting themselves out there like this. And then we have the business model. Ideas are great, but actually making it into a sustaining business and a long-term enterprise is really difficult. So that's the third aspect of our criteria here, and that's what our judges will be reflecting upon. In terms of the pitch process itself, they are 5-minute video pitches. They have been pre-recorded just because it would be difficult to loop everyone in and do it live. But then we will actually do a live Q&A for 3 minutes. So you get to actually see some of the faces behind this presentation, and we'll get some great questions from our judges and some equally great questions from the participants. So with that said, we would like to introduce our judges real quick, and then ask what they're hoping to see out of these presentations. So we'll start with Robin Exton. She is the founder of Her. So let's see if we can bring her up. There she is.
Hi.
Hi, Robin.
How's it going?
It's going great. So what are you hoping to see out of these presentations?
I first of all, to even have something together after such a short period of time is always impressive. So being able to concisely and clearly deliver a concept. But I think the most important thing is validation. As you said at the beginning, ideas are cheap, but knowing that you can actually execute and scale against it is always the most important thing that I think people should figure out early on.
Absolutely fantastic. Our second judge is William Coombs, the head of global design of Visa. And Will, what are you looking for out of these presentations?
Well, thanks, Robbie. As the design guy, I'm really interested to kind of see what user experience you've taken into consideration. It's not just about validation, but are people going to want to use something? Have you paid attention to that? Certainly don't expect polish, but want to know that you've done that work to validate that design indeed matters.
Excellent, excellent. And then we're having a minor technical issue with getting Lindsay into the stream. So we're going to skip over to Chad Palmatier, the co-founder of Lick Ice Cream. Chad, what are you hoping for out of these presentations?
I'm excited to see all of this. This is my first HackOut experience, so I'm really looking forward to seeing the innovation and the excitement behind these concepts. Looking for solid concepts. I think it has to start pretty solid to carry on. So looking forward all.
Excellent, excellent.
Thanks, Chad.
All right, so I don't know if we're going to be able to get Lindsay back at this moment, but hopefully we'll be able to pull her into the stream so we can still get her expert judging and helping with the crowning a victor. But nonetheless, you've heard from 3 of our fantastic judges. And without further ado, it is time to get into the pitches themselves. So our first team up is Queer Healers.
Hi, I'm Marissa, a writer, herbalist, and yoga teacher based in Brooklyn. I also work as a program manager at Etsy on the security engineering team. This weekend, in addition to supporting my team at HackOut, I'm currently an on-site healer at Activation Residency, an artist and wellness collective in upstate New York that offers respite for frontliners who are Black, Indigenous, people of color. I'm proudly introducing Queer Healers, an online directory for queer healing practitioners. But first, let's level set everyone's understanding of what we mean by healer. A healer is an informed facilitator who has specific knowledge around practices, remedies, and modalities that may aid in an individual's healing journey. This is someone who's dedicated time to training in their craft, often hundreds of hours ahead of working with people. Some of you might be thinking, is this a healthcare startup? Others might be sensing an investment in alternative, holistic, or esoteric care. And you'd both be right. When we say healer, we mean massage therapists and tarot readers, death doulas and psychotherapists, herbalists, midwives, life coaches, and yes, animal communicators. But they're all queer and vetted by people like us. Now that we're on the same page, let's dive in. Have you ever started seeing a new therapist and had to spend 4 months coaching them on what it means to be a Black trans sex worker in Texas? Me neither. But that's an example of the problem we're tackling. A deeply marginalized person who needs access to adequate mental health services and whose income is routinely compromised. This person will spend months educating a therapist, assuming they can even find one who provides psychological safety to do that educational work to begin with, if they're even able to afford the time and money it takes to find a suitable therapist in the first place. As a person at the intersection of so many identities, this struggle feels incredibly personal, but queer people experience it in two key ways. Firstly, there's an evergreen frustration. There's never been a time in recorded history when queer people could quickly find healers who relate to their lived experience. Secondly, in this modern world, beyond being skilled at their craft, healers also need to become social media, search optimization, and email marketing mavens to be found by clients. This not only takes time, but requires a certain amount of access and capital that shouldn't be assumed. Thirdly, the biggest duh element of this whole thing, alternative medicine and esoteric offerings are not at all valued by the mainstream. Yet, we queers are over here searching high and low for healers outside of Western medicine. It is our intention to connect those.
Okay, I'm Bridget. So in terms of customer validation, we asked 150 queer healers and potential clients for their input. We also asked if they would pay for our service. They were strongly in the affirmative. So we connect you with high-quality queer healers of diverse identities, modalities, and backgrounds. We are a lead gen tool, connecting queer healers with mostly queer clients who urgently need mental health services and spiritual support. Instead of sifting through queer exchange groups, use our filters, read reviews, and then book and pay for sessions for your desired healer in minutes. In 2019, Gala and I created an Instagram to gauge interest, and after a week we had 100 healers in our DMs and 200 followers. We realized that identities and modalities data would be our secret sauce. Fast forward to this summer, we asked Marissa and Sky if they wanted to join us, and in the past 3 days, we've received 150 surveys, seen over 350 additional Instagram follows, added 65 Facebook groups to our hit list, which have over 300,000 members, and today launched our prototype. So let's take a look and see how it works. You're the first to see the website. So I go to queerhealers.com. I want to find a massage therapist, so I say find a healer. I scroll to the bodywork category. I look to see who's in my local city and their price point. I want to see Yvonne, and I read Yvonne's profile. I can see things that she's tagged for in terms of her identity. I can read her client testimonials. I'm satisfied. I want to hit book. It's that simple. Obviously, right now, we're linking out to the provider's own booking page, but soon enough, we'll optimize our ability to filter, and we'll completely own the end-to-end customer journey. So bookings and transactions will take place on our platform. In terms of our customer segments, we have clients, healers, and spaces. Healers pay Healers pay $15 a month for a basic account or $40 for an e-commerce account. Clients can grab a subscription box containing goods created by healers across the platform. We'll offer a free trial, and we're baking reparative systems into the site, including things like the ability to pay for a session for other people or for healers to offer different alternate compensation types like pay what you can or donation-based services. In terms of the market, it's 211 million queer people worldwide, 12 million of those are in the US. Most excitingly, in just 2 days, we found 65 queer exchange groups on Facebook with 300,000 members. With a little bit more searching, I'm confident we'll have 500,000 people within reach. In terms of competitors, Healers is a het-focused site, and there's only one queer listing that comes up if you filter on that. The National Queer and Trans Therapists of Color Network and Psychology Today both only focus on therapists. OutCare basically just has Western medicine. And then Mama Wonder Bar is essentially a competitor with regard to our monthly subscription box. Let me go back. So in terms of our roadmap for Q3, we're focused on the prototype, onboarding 120 healers from our database, getting functionality up, pushing it on socials, and codifying our processes. Next up, we'll start converting people from the queer exchange groups to our platform, add referral functionalities, sort out any legal hurdles. Next year, if we're satisfied, we'll look at our marketing spend, do outreach to other major cities, work with influencers, and do everything we can to get the economy restarted. So this is us. Our team is astrologically balanced with a strong Taurian theme. Gala will take any questions you may have about our natal charts. Thank you.
Wow, what a fantastic pitch. And just as a programming note, it was sped up to fit the 5-minute constraint we have here. So that was on us, but still a very exciting pitch. And now what I'd like to do is bring our judges back in and the participants to be able to answer some questions.
Hello.
Good evening.
So happy to answer questions in real time.
Excellent. Well, this is Will. I've got one for you. What's driving your decision? I noticed when you were looking at what you're planning on doing, and you had mentioned that you don't necessarily have a payments platform built into this yet, so you're still relying on the actual bookings to go through somebody else. Have you thought about prioritizing that as potentially being your secret sauce, more so than the upfront fees that somebody would have to pay to use your service?
So do you mean in terms of prioritizing getting the payment platform onto the site as soon as possible? And for some reason that's currently a barrier to people in terms of like them not being tech savvy and not being able to create their own Shopify based websites?
I think that the question is if your value proposition to a healer, and I love the idea, by the way, is that you're making it easier on them as well as connecting them with clients, right? So that's one of those things that I think is kind of important to recognize is that if you're not focused, if you're focused merely on linking out to their site and letting them handle something, you're not necessarily removing the burden from them. You've given them essentially a marketplace, but you have some opportunities to lighten their load even further and maybe change the way that you do your revenue model. So just a suggestion more than anything else, because I do think it's a really unique idea.
So absolutely, when we were thinking about the current way that healers market themselves, you literally do have to become tech savvy. You have to be a social media marketer. You have to know how to do email marketing and use all of these different platforms and learn how to use these learn how to compete with other influencers as well to sort of even find or be found by clients. So we want to create this platform as a way to, make it more equitable and accessible for people who are really highly skilled in their craft, really knowledgeable in the modality that they specialize in, but maybe they don't necessarily care to learn about how to, compete with the best on Instagram. So it is important to us that we create this platform in the same way that Airbnb essentially made it completely streamlined and completely universal in the way that vacation rentals and people's houses would be presented. Everyone has the exact same layout on their profiles. Everyone uses the exact same sort of systems, and that's the way that you get found. So yeah, we want to make it easier on healers who aren't skilled at marketing, who aren't skilled at digital technologies, to still be found by the type of clients that they would like to be providing their services to.
I will also say that a lot of people build out these websites and are so proud of them. And so we do want to also give people an opportunity, for those who are really tech savvy, who have beautiful platforms, just to be found. I think that's really at the center of all of this.
All right, then we have time for one super fast question. Robin, Chad?
It's not so fast as was. I think it's a really interesting space. We see people asking for things like this in this territory a lot, even just like through our app and dating. They're like, everything like star signs and energy matching. But was interested in the validation side. Like you were talking to customers if they would use it. You also mentioned the Queer Connection Facebook groups. And I was wondering if you have looked through to see, like, are people requesting these services and connecting with each other within this category? Because I know it's like a broad space where lots of like range of topics have that might give you like a clear review on the size and the volume of like purchase.
Short answer, I think, is yes. People are asking for this all of the time. I was just at a retreat, and the person who organized it said that, they really fought tooth and nail just to get the healers to the platform. So I think there's definitely a need to just round all that information up.
And as a person that's been in the New York City-based Queer Exchange, which currently has around 30,000 members, that is the primary space where people find healers who are offering these services and modalities. And that has been the case for the last 9 years that I've been in New York.
Excellent work, queer healers. Thank you, judges. I know that went by super fast, but we're going to have to move on to the next team, which is Art AI. So let's go to their presentation now.
Welcome to Art IA, a new way to experience art from the comfort of your own home, buy art, and connect with other artists. Bring the gallery home.
The major problem that we discovered after our diligence is that entering the fine art world has an emerging fine artist cap, especially for recent graduates. Only 10% actually enter the market and sustain themselves as fine artists. Also, the ones that are established artists pay quite a high commission fee once they make it to that space. Art patrons themselves also need a better way to curate the ability to buy art and support communities that reflect their ideals and values.
At the beginning of the hackathon, we had initial assumptions that new artists and patrons needed a new way to experience art, and artists wanted lower commissions and virtual communities and gallery. After surveying 6 artists and having a conversation with one of them and 4 fine art buyers, we discovered that our original assumptions were validated, and that artists wish to collaborate with galleries, as there are key stakeholders in the art world right now.
The proposed solution is that we're allowing a consumer-centric experience to engage, curate, and experience art as the art was intended to be experienced. On the next slide, you'll see that this is a virtual gallery that a user generates for themselves once they've selected art from our domain, and then to be able to experience using their desktops or their smartphones or even VR headsets if they have this accessible. The ability to curate, explore, and define your own experience is really the true value here. And one of our priorities is to even be able to focus diverse and as well as a wide range of feature artists. Beyond that, the community engagement is thinking about trying to recapitulate the virtual art experience, especially like First Friday art walks that happen in usual spaces that can't operate due to COVID-19. So producing ability to find art, put it into a virtual space, and even to be able to play with it in augmented reality to try before you buy.
Currently, right now, there's art gallery limitations. Galleries are forced to keep physical spaces open in order to participate in global art events such as Art Basel, creating high ceilings and closures for art galleries. Currently, 45% of sales are online, and there's a 64 billion stable market.
The customer segments as a multi-sided model where we have artists as users and consumers of art as users. We want to make sure that we're reflecting our ideals of being able to allow an entry point for emerging artists while also optimizing the user experience of finding, experiencing, and trying art before you buy it.
Our business model is very competitive. We wish to do the same model that Facebook did, which participating with IB schools, which is IB art schools. They'll be subscribing their students for $375. Additionally, there'll be a freebie for students who are interested or non-students who are interested in being in our services, but they'll be require a 20% additional commission fee instead of the 15% commission fee. Other artists, such as already established artists, will be able to experience our own platform at $8.99, and additional white label service for galleries.
The unique value proposition beyond curating a community for both artists and consumers is really allowing them to experience it using virtual experiences through their desktop or mobiles or AR on their smartphones in their homes, and being able to have a consumer experience that's self-discovery driven while also matching them to artists that they might find to be quite valuable, especially from our data-driven modeling.
Currently, Arte is the only AR and VR experience, social media management, events, and calendar integration, as well as performance analytics. We also include smart contracts, which include royalties, escrow, communication paper trail between the commissioner and a contract builder. Galleries right now take 50% commissions, and Sachi Art, and I want to buy an experience, costs $35 per commission. Currently, right now, after being enrolled with one of the arts, we have 300 students enrolled with 300 additional artists, which will provide us at $223K in subscriptions, $188K commission, that same, which each artist sells 3 pieces of art. The cost of total expenses will be $194K, explains in the diagram below.
Our priority on focusing on a customer acquisition strategy while using existing tech stacks for the VR AR space allows us to be able to enter the market at a rapid rate while being able to provide an experience that encourages entry for fine artists as well as established fine artists to be able to showcase their wares. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to showcase our product Art AI, bringing the gallery home.
Wow, another fantastic presentation. And in additional fantastic news, our fourth judge, Lindsay Nuwan, was able to join us back in the stream. Lindsay, just real quickly, for the next 3 pitches, what are you hoping to see?
I'm definitely hoping to see something that gives me hope for overcoming the hurdles to whatever mission area they're trying to solve. And I'm definitely hoping to see something exciting and unique as far as how they approach the problem. So thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Of course, of course. And with that, we will bring up the participants from that team and the rest of our judges. We will have 3 minutes on the clock. So remember, team, brevity is the key here. And you're off.
Have you guys looked at comparison to other online art platforms where you can purchase from online websites, and how do you see yourselves differently to those?
So yes, there's a lot of different art markets right now. There's Etsy, a popular one, but that one's not very refined for specifically the fine art market specifically. It's more a lot of more like journal made of like less low balance, less curated markets. There's Saatchi, but Saatchi takes 35% of commission instead of like what we have, which is 15%. Additionally, the market specifically that we're going for is for like upcoming artists who are not yet discovered by the art or like art galleries. Carla, do you have any other?
Yeah, one of the major hurdles for high commission work is that transfer of services, mock-ups, proposals, and that's part of the smart contracting as well, to provide them a higher value for those more established ones that don't have that bandwidth to do so. Thank you.
Any other questions, judges?
Great idea. Just something that you mentioned that I think you're onto something additional. There are lots of art providers that are subcontractors for big design firms that do hotels and high-end properties. And this is something that plays in a sweet spot that there's definitely a missing piece. So think about that as well.
Yeah, so we actually got the white label processing for galleries, which also can include interior design companies, but I obviously did not make a touch on that because that's too many things to keep track of. Carlo, do you have something to say?
Yeah, one of the groups we reached out to for a survey was somebody from Hurst, Bidner and Associates. They're one of the largest interior architect firms on earth, and they're quite interested in being able to show this part of the Revit's AutoCAD renderings for user perspective. So it's a great point to point out, but kind of a longer term strategy.
All right, anything else? I think we have just a little bit amount of time.
Anybody want to buy some art? We know a guy or two.
Or like a couple hundreds.
Well, that's always a good sign when you're able to answer all those questions. So well done, Art AI, and thank you, judges, for hopping back in. We are now going to go to our third team for the evening, and that is Podium.
This is Elliot from Team 4, Podium, and our mission is to break the echo chambers of social media. So my team consists of myself, Victoria Lamb, Riley Johnson, and Misha Kessler. And the problem that we're trying to tackle is multifold, starting with the American political system, which is made to disadvantage minorities and underrepresented folks, which leads to confused and uninformed voters because they don't understand how the system works. And subsequently, a distrust of conventional media, which then caused people to migrate to social media for their news, which proliferated fake news and echo chambers as we know them. To introduce our solution to this problem, the value that we have that's core to us is, with values as unique as your fingerprint, your vote should be as well. So for this, we have created we are trying to create an app that is curated for the issues that you care about, fact-checked and bias-annotated news that's relevant to the issues that you are following, simultaneously simplifying the ballot selection process by generating a sample ballot based on candidates, organizations, and issues that you follow, as well as flexible and recurring donation options for you to support the candidates and organizations that champion issues you care about. The Podium Rally product is the candidate or organization partner to Podium proper. This is a simplified platform where you can reach out to your constituents with no middleman. This includes automatic notifications, so if you're going live for a televised event, or if you're gonna if you're featured in the news, your followers can get notifications for that. Additionally, the news link feature allows you to voluntarily allow voters to navigate directly to your profile by clicking your name in news articles. Our market opportunity is very vast, generally speaking, but our target market for the initial stage are going to be children of the internet or very heavy social media users that get all of their news from social media, and unregistered voters in the San Antonio area. We will be targeting 5,000 individuals to start, But in parallel, we will also be targeting political candidates and political organizations that are followed heavily by the voters on our platform, so that they can claim their profiles and get started with engaging with them. The competitive analysis is pretty simple. There are two different types of competitors: political apps and social media apps. Political apps are or have failed to capture the attention of younger voters by not creating a personalized approach. And with our personalized approach, we will have a very isolated, stress-free environment for voters to learn more about their issues. And social media apps, which we know have proliferated fake news and echo chambers, so they're already distrusted. Our business model is pretty simple, but I'll break it down into 3 sections. Our value proposition for voters is a safe and personalized place to learn more about the issues that you care about. And for candidates and organizations, it's a simple and direct way to reach your voters. Our revenue streams are going to be ads that voters can opt into from candidates and other committees, other organizations, and then subscriptions from those organizations based on a sliding scale for their budget reported to the FEC. The best part about our product is that it is validated by both voters and political organizers. Our initial assumption was information was the greatest barrier to civic engagement, and that was corroborated. But we, in the need for a focus on policy and a need for a trustable news source, but we also learned that there is a very high proportion of unregistered voters that need to be taken care of. And if we target them as well, we can provide an end-to-end experience all the way from getting them registered to vote to getting them out to the polls. And I really hope that you will support our project to build ourselves a more informed America.
Well done. It's so interesting how we're seeing and hearing from all these different types of businesses already, really kind of across industries. So let's bring up the our judges, our incredible panel of judges, and the presenter themselves.
Hello, everybody.
Ask away.
Wait, thank you so much, Lee, for that presentation. Can you please tell me how you are either filtering out or addressing the validity of information on your platform, or dealing with the hashtag fake news sort of issue?
Sure. So it's going to be a multifold approach. The first thing is that we are using the PolitiFact API, and PolitiFact is a very trusted, very well-known source for fact-checking. And so essentially what we're going to do is have an acceptability scale. So for PolitiFact, they have from a true statement all the way to pants on fire, as they call it, lying. So completely filtering out anything that is a complete and total proven lie, and then annotating each one of the posts that come through using the data that we have to reflect their biases, so that people are aware of that whenever they click on them to read them.
Any other questions? Don't be shy, judges.
I saw you said that your target audience, one group is unregistered voters. Did you get a chance to speak to any of them to understand about what would catalyze them to want to click into issues on their local level?
Yes. So I apologize for not noting this in the presentation, but the voter some of the voters that we talked to or potential voters were unregistered. And basically what they said is that they're very dissatisfied with the political system overall. And they feel like having more information and having validated sources for that information would increase their confidence in order to basically increase their desire to even want to participate in the political process at all, with voting or with following candidates or the issues that they care about.
Excellent, excellent. I think that's just about all the time we have for. Thank you, Podium. Excellent job. And we will move to our fourth team, which is TRID.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to learn more about TRID, the world's first clothing subscription service geared towards people who live and are exploring themselves outside of the gender binary. Our team is made up of myself, Graham Hawley, the ideator and main researcher, Josh Walker, our head developer, and Pavel Valashin, our head UX designer. A fun fact about TRID is it gets its name from lyrics to RuPaul's song Born Naked, which states, "We're all born naked and the rest is drag." So what we did was we took those last 4 words, which are most central to what we're trying to achieve, and abbreviated it to TRID. The problem we came up with and set out to solve was that the current gendered model of shopping restricts certain people from comfortably expressing themselves. Based on our problem, we crafted a questionnaire and sent it out to our networks, and found out that 41% of trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming, and queer people don't have a wardrobe that reflects their identity, and 76% often have issues finding clothing that fits properly. One such person is Brandon, who likes to shop in store, but gets glares and weird looks from people when looking through the women's section, and has issues finding the right feminine fits for their frame. Based on our initial problem and the user interviews we had, we came up with a solution to be an inclusive shopping experience connecting people with clothing tailored to their chosen identities, with a superior focus on fit, and become a subscription clothing service similar to Stitch Fix, but for people who exist outside of the gender binary. Now, we definitely know we have some big competition on our hands. The first one being Stitch Fix, which is by far the most well-known in the subscription service model and holds the largest market share. And right after them is Trunk Club, which is owned by one of the biggest clothing retailers in the US, Nordstrom. We know we have some very stiff competition in this space, but we believe our unique value proposition will set us far apart from them. To start, we're reimagining the online shopping experience. Every major retailer and anyone else in the subscription model is focusing on the 2 ends of the spectrum, while we want to focus on everything that's in between. Additionally, our entire team comes from the LGBT+ community, so we have greater empathy and understanding for the people we want to help, and will work longer and harder to achieve that goal. So, how are we going to scale this business? Well, to start, we need data on our customer base before we can move anywhere. So we know it's fairly inexpensive to host a website, so we will build out our entire questionnaire, send it out to people, but let them know that at this point, we just want to get to know them better. Then once we've collected enough data, we will hire an initial group of stylists who will then reach out and offer 1 or 2 free stylings based on the limited amount of inventory we already have. From there, we hope to see a lot of significant month-over-month growth after we've worked out a lot of kinks, met a wider set of needs, and then start doing some brand partnerships with up-and-coming designers. And finally, we hope to be acquired by a major competitor such as Stitch Fix or a retailer like Macy's who's looking to get into this market because they have a large network and own their own warehouses and inventory that we can tap into. Of course, we won't be able to make any of those big figures of money unless we're able to acquire customers. And initially, we want to start by just tapping into our personal networks. We each know people who could benefit from the service, and they probably know people as well who they could bring to us to further expand that initial launch. Once we get some more people under our belt, we get some data and numbers, we'll reach out to queer influencers on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, who will further evangelize this to their network of followers. And we also want to do some brand activations. Of course, we can't in the immediate future as large gatherings are still impossible, but at places like shopping centers and malls or queer events or queer heavy neighborhoods have booths where people can come and get their exact measurements taken that will be uploaded into our platform, and people can access those measurements by signing up for a free account. Now that we've acquired some customers, we need to talk about how we're going to make some money off of them. So on the business to consumer side, we will have a monthly subscription fee of about $20 to $25, that will go back into the shipping costs and also paying the stylists. Additionally, we will make profits from clothing sales and we will reinvest that into more inventory. On the business to business side, we will anonymize the data that we've gotten from our consumers and consider selling it. Due to the time constraints of this pitch, we weren't able to show off and demo our MVPs that my technical co-founders have been working hard on, but you can find the links in Miro to explore them for yourself. Now to wrap up, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for joining us as we start down a very challenging yet rewarding path. The clothing industry has needed a major shakeup and changeup for quite some time now, and I believe we are poised to bring around the change to make shopping an enjoyable experience for everyone. After all, we're all born naked, and the rest is drag.
Fantastic. Another pitch and another industry. And what I love about all these pitches is that they are starting with problems that probably all of us can relate to in some way. So let's go back to our fantastic panel of judges and then bring in some of the participants to do another round of questions and answers.
Great presentation. It's hard to do something recorded like that, and appreciate the commitment to sparkle motion at the end. That was great.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. So, any questions for us?
No, I think this is a really great concept. I feel like, you mentioned quote unquote competition, but I don't really think that's competition. I don't think those other platforms really serve the mission you guys are
yeah,
to do. So that's great.
I don't think there's direct competitors on the market. So
they could potentially move into our space, but
Correct.
if we're able to get big enough and make a big enough splash, it could be a PR nightmare for them, which is what we're hoping.
Right. Yeah, that's great.
You had mentioned that you had limited inventory right now, so could you get off the ground quickly? Like, what does limited mean?
We don't currently have limited inventory. When we got to that stage, we would have a small pool that we would select inventory to select from, because it is very expensive to house and to purchase all of that. So we have to be very smart about the customers that we help out first.
If you heard about stories, so like Zappos, when they started, they bought shoes from across the street, posted on their website, bought the shoes from the store. So we kind of, because we also want to be like that service. We want to be like more personalized. We want to show that connection between the stylist and a person who's buying that for, because there was a lot of folks who needs it.
And also trying to be as lean as possible early on.
I thought your initial numbers on the level of interest were really good, like that you could provide kind of hard data on how many people felt uncomfortable and how many people were interested in looking for alternative shopping choices. If you hadn't, a great idea would be to find out what the average purchase price and the frequency of purchase is from your customers, because it would be interesting to get a sense of how much money they spend on clothes shopping and how often as well.
Yeah, on the questionnaire, there was a question for that, and it had several options. And the majority of people, I think, spent about $50 to $100 a month. Right after that, 100, so yeah, 50 or 0 to 50, then 50 to 100. So it's not a lot, but also I know the natural average for Americans is $1,800 a year. So about half of that is what we're aiming to grab from these customers.
All right, I think that's it. Excellent work, Trid. Thank you, judges. And now we will move on to our fifth and final team that will be presenting, which is Pride Doctor.
Hello, friends. My name is Justin Ayers, and I'm the founder and CEO of Pride Doctor. Simply put, Pride Doctor is a safe place where telemedicine meets the LGBTQ+ community where they live. I'd like you to meet Sergio. Sergio lives in Washington, D.C. and identifies as a gay Latinx man. Because D.C. has more LGBTQ+ residents than any other city in America, he's concerned about his sexual health, especially knowing that 4 out of 5 new HIV cases each year are diagnosed in marginalized communities like his. Meet Tatiana. She identifies as a trans woman and lives in Los Angeles. When seeing a doctor, she wants to feel comfortable, and she wants to see the doctor to see her for who she is. She wants to have an open, honest conversations with her doctor about her sexual health as well as her partner's. Sergio's and Tatiana's stories are not unique. In fact, they symbolize a larger systemic problem that America's LGBTQ community faces when engaging the healthcare system. The LGBTQ community faces historic discrimination, particularly when it comes to the medical field and they need medical care. Part of this comes from fear of shame, of being your authentic self with a stranger who might not respect who it is that you are, entrenched societal stigma of seeking services just to live a healthy sexual lifestyle, and to highly effective medications and services can often be very effective, which marginalizes racial minorities in particular. The solution is that our platform provides an online portal where LGBTQ patients can safely connect with inclusive doctors that create a safe space for not just an honest dialogue, but that removes all fears and stigmas associated with taking control of your sexual health. Our platform is inexpensive and provides access to trusted medical professionals who can provide desired medication and services when you need them. Our total addressable market is 16.5 million people, which is the number of people who are LGBTQ plus in the United States of America. And this number is growing. But we're looking at a smaller beta test for our limited product, looking at PrEP, pre-exposure prophylactic, in the specific market of DC, because it has the nation's highest LGBT population. The DC metro region has 6.1 million people, about 200,000, and assuming that half of them, 150,000, are PrEP candidates, we'd like to consider a conservative estimate of a beachhead market of being a TAM of 75,000 customers at $19 a month. That makes our total addressable annual recurring revenue $17.1 million. Our marketing includes 3 steps, which first is early adopters, being that I grew up in DC. I have the home field advantage, and we have grassroots marketing efforts, and my diverse personal networks allow us to engage multiple communities. I had a 6-year LGBT media company based in the DC region called Q Media, and have many contacts based on that, and then we'll engage in content marketing and reach out to more people through that, so that by the end of next year, we'll have 50,000 users. Our business model has a 3-tier pricing structure: Get Healthy for $19 a month, Smart Living for $99 for 6 months, and Healthy Life for $199 for 12 months. All the plans, of course, include all the access to the doctors through our network at every stage of the PrEP journey. All of our competitors, of which there are many, do many great things, but none of them cover all of the things that we do, specifically prescribing medications and being able to choose your doctor and be specifically LGBTQIA inclusive and have a low cost of just $19 a month. Our team includes myself, a DC native and recovering attorney turned entrepreneur, Ileana Bocanegra and Mario Noel. And our future is to have our service expand nationwide to provide affordable, on-demand, LGBTQ+ inclusive healthcare services at your fingertips from anywhere in the country. Help us make our community safer, healthier, and happier with Pride Doctor.
Wow, I can see why this is the top 5. I do not envy the judges right now. Speaking of judges, let's bring them back in and our participants for one more round of Q&A.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
So what compels a service provider to list with you?
Well, right now we are working with a company called Circle, and they have over 11,000 medical professionals, from medical doctors to lab technicians across the country. And they are looking to identify new markets and new customers, particularly in the telehealth medicine era, that they can address particularly those who have concerns and needs that might be able to be met more effectively with telemedicine that might not be able to in person, including the issues that we addressed with the prep for our beta testing in the DC market.
How do you plan to get your first customers onto the platform?
Very easily, actually. I'm a DC native, and for the past 6 years, I've had an LGBT multimedia media company in the DC region, and we've hosted wedding shows, and we have many, many, many contacts, and actually have a national network of LGBT publications who can help get the story and content out there that we publicize about all the work we do with Pride Doctor. Many of the customers I had with Q Media are already interested in having some of their family members and coworkers sign up because they've expressed problems to them in the workplace and at home.
I love the fact that you guys have thought about, you know, the space, because telemedicine and concierge sort of services are really exploding. Have you guys thought about partnership strategies that are going to enable you to scale at all? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to partner with this company called Wheel, because they have the entire network of doctors at our disposal, and then they can help identify with our guidance which doctors are inclusive, and of course those will be able to say to whether they are or not, and if they're not, that's okay, but we want to make sure that we provide that safe environment for our clients. And because they are nationwide, all of their doctors have at least licenses in 5 states. So that the idea is that you can be in any state and then call in and get to a doctor from another state and not have an issue. And laws are looking to be that there'll be more restrictions lifted on the licensing restrictions that currently exist, because telemedicine is really the way of the future.
And I think that brings us to time.
Well, also, that they allow us to do pharmacy shipping to your house, as well as filling any kind of insurance issues that you might have as a customer who doesn't understand the insurance process. So it's a whole, it's from beginning to end.
Thank you, Pride Doctor. And thank you to all the teams that presented. It is incredibly hard to create a new business in just 54 hours, let alone pitch it and put yourself out there. And then to create a 5-minute video, that's unbelievable. So congratulations to everyone, even those who didn't present tonight. It's a huge accomplishment. And thank you so much to our judges. I'd love to talk to all of y'all for the rest of the day because you're such interesting and fantastic people. But for now, you will be deliberating in our virtual green room. And so we will let you all do that. So thank you so much to our judges. And they will be going to the Zoom room. I just got a note about that. And so I believe that my fantastic co-facilitator is about to join me again.
Yes. It's been so long. I've missed you, Robbie. But great job with all the presentations. So yes, the judges have gone off to deliberate, and they're going to determine who are the first 1, 2, 3, first place, second place, and third place winners. But the judges aren't going to be the only person to determine winners tonight. We're also going to ask all of you to give your vote for who was your favorite pitch for the night. So over in Hopin, if you're online and on YouTube or Facebook, you don't have this option. But if you're registered for the event and you're in Hopin, you'll see in Hopin there's now a poll where you can post your favorite pitch for the evening. Now, several years ago, I came to an event like this, and I really liked being part of the event, and I volunteered to be a facilitator for the event. And what I discovered was, man, I like getting out there with the microphone and interacting with the audience, and that's a really exciting thing. Obviously, in the digital space, that's a bit harder. Robbie and I have been experimenting with this over the weekend. It's been interesting co-hosting a virtual event, right, Robbie?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It felt like a real-life beta test. Wouldn't do it with anyone other than you, though.
So what we discovered is it's a challenge that can be met, but it's kind of hard. You know what's even harder than that? doing this as a comedian when you don't get virtually can be even harder. So we're going to have Karina Magyar come up. She is a writer, comedian, content strategist, journalist, lesbian, and has other labels as well. She's going to come up and entertain us for the next 20 minutes while the judges are deliberating. We encourage you to do your LOL and happy emojis to respond to her things in the comments so we can give her some feedback while she's performing. But Karina, I'm going to invite you up to the stage.
HackOut 2020 proudly presents.
Here comes Karina Magyar!
Thank you so much for having me on. This is really an honor and super exciting. And yeah, I have so many labels to share with you. Let's dig in. I've only got 20 minutes. So here are all my labels. No, I'm kidding. Let's see. What do I have? Out of LGBT, I am a BLT. So that's pretty good. Like, I'm trying to cover as many bases as you physically can. And I got to be honest, I hope the judges take a long time to deliberate, not only because that keeps the attention on me, because it proves that my theory is wrong. See, I have this theory that nobody should develop any more technology or apps at all, because the best one has already been made. And I really apologize bringing this here because I know some of you are nervous, thinking, oh, is my idea going to get picked? And you don't want to hear like the best idea of all time. But here it is. It's a game. You can download it on Google Play, and it's called Master Bass Angler. It's a fishing game that you play on your phone. I've never played it. I don't need to, because the description for this game clearly proves that it is the best application of all time. Here it is, the description for Master Bass Angler. If you are looking for an action-packed bass fishing game, then Master Bass Angler is for you. Master Bass Angler is an arcade bass fishing game that was created by bass fishermen for bass fishermen. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be catching bass faster than you can say, "Fish on!" No other fishing game offers exclusive bass fishing at this pace. We guarantee it. You won't catch any bluegill or perch here. This game is for bass fishermen only. Catch largemouth, smallmouth, spotted, red-eye, peacock, and the always elusive shoal bass on 7 of the hottest fishing lakes of 2020. Look, Master Bass Angler is not a fishing simulation. It's an action arcade game with tons of excitement. You won't slowly tap the lure on the screen waiting for a fish to bite here. This is called power fishing. You'll catch bass after bass after bass. That's true. You can look it up on the Play Store. That was word for word how they described their app. And if you didn't describe your idea with that much enthusiasm, then maybe we've all learned something together here. So on that nerve-wracking note, let me tell you something about, how about the before times? Let's talk about the before times. And of course, I'm referring to 2015. No, I'm referring to when we could all go out in the world without fear and masks and distance. I want to talk about the last time I used a public bathroom, because here's the thing. I've been out and proud as a trans woman for 6 years now. And so I've been using the women's restroom for quite some time. Unfortunately, the last time that I used I used a bathroom in public, it was the men's room. And I feel really terrible about it. Like, what a way to break the streak and leave it hanging there. But I kind of had to, because the women's room was okay. Well, it wasn't full. What had happened was I went there and there was a yellow cone in front of the women's bathroom, that says cleaning in progress. And for some reason in our culture, in American society, the yellow "I'm cleaning this bathroom" cone is the only sign that any of us unquestioningly obey, right? That's the one thing that truly still unites us as a nation, is that someone's cleaning the bathroom. I better not go in there, right? which is weird if you think about it, because like that should be a flag. That should be a signal. This is the best time to use the public bathroom. Somebody's literally cleaning it right now. You're either going to have somebody erase all of your horrible mistakes in there, or you're going to get a pristine virgin toilet seat. One way or another, you win, you know? But I did what all Americans do and followed the, oh no, that bathroom is super closed right now sign. But I had to go. So I took a look at my old friend, the men's room door, and I thought, well, here we are again. Time to go in. Now, I've polled many of my female friends about like what they do in this situation. You know, what kind of attitude do you go in with? Usually when we're doing a live performance, I'll go ahead and ask some of you maybe what your tactic is for entering the men's room in an emergency. But, you know, can't really facilitate that right now. I just know that the most common answers are you either go in with confidence or go in with an apology. Those are the two that I get the most often. In my brain at this particular moment, in this particular emergency, I kind of did neither. I didn't want to apologize because it's 2019 or 2020 or whatever year it was. And I am a strong, independent woman. I ain't apologizing for shit, literally. And I did know that confidence was key. So what I did was I kicked open the men's room door and flipped everybody off while going all the way to the stall. And I made it to the stall without anybody stopping me. So mission accomplished, right? That was clearly the right way to go into the men's bathroom. So I set into the stall, you know, pull my pants down, get on the toilet, feeling really good about myself. And I mean, I don't know if you've ever, I was just there to go number one, right? I was just there to take a little tinkle, but sometimes, you know, you get onto the toilet and your cheeks spread and your body gets its signals confused. And it's just like, lets out a little tester, just a little, just a tiny test toot to see sort of like what's going on in there. Like, do we want to rev the engine? Is it time to go? No, just checking, right? So I just let out just a little toilet fart. And I mean, really, the toilet is the best place to fart. We've got global warming. We've got methane problems. We've got climate change. Like, we should all be farting into the toilet. That is carbon recapture at its finest, right? Everybody who farts in the toilet should get an applause break and $5 from the EPA. That's my politics. That's literally my political party is the farting in the toilet party. But this particular instance in the men's room, I farted, and a guy on the other side of the stall wall laughed at me. And it wasn't like a friendly laugh, like a jovial, ha ha ha, the human condition, we're all in it together, am I right, chum? No, it was like a mocking, you're never gonna sit at the cool table in the cafeteria, high-pitched giggle, right? A full Nelson Muntz, ha ha. I was livid, right? It triggered something deep inside of me because without even thinking, I just yelled, fuck off! And then I waited for a reply. None was forthcoming. I had won the debate, guys. Like, that was, I am nailing this bathroom visit, right? Like, whew, made it to the stall, shut up the laughing guy. What else could, you know, anyway. I should probably mention at this point in the story that I was really drunk. That seems like that's a detail I should have mentioned earlier. Also, another small detail that's probably worth mentioning is that this was at a Chuck E. Cheese. They serve wine, okay? Like that, I didn't invent that, all right? And if you've got kids, actually, you don't even have to bring your kids. They'll still give you wine at Chuck E. Cheese. It's great. Anyway, so that's why I was in the bathroom. So I finished my voluminous wine piss, you know, hike my pants back up. I dab myself dry first, of course, front to back. And I exit the stall. And when I turn the corner, I run smack into the person who laughed at me. And he was an 11-year-old boy. What do? What do you do in this situation, right? I mean, again, I'm not going to apologize. I'm a grown-up. I can do what I want in the bathroom at Chuck E. Cheese. But I owed this child an explanation, of course. But if you could have seen the face, how do I describe this face to you? It's like that Lego character in the roller coaster set, he's just terrified, right? Well, because think about it. Let's back up and think about this from this boy's point of view, right? He's an 11-year-old boy. He's at a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. He feels the need to pee. He doesn't even ask permission. He goes straight to the men's room. He's a big boy, right? He's on his own. He doesn't need mom's help. He goes into the bathroom, walks right up to the stall with all the confidence in the world, gets ready, starts doing his thing. He's feeling good when all of a sudden a mom kicks open the door, flips off everybody in the bathroom, goes in the stall, farts. He does what an 11-year-old boy does and laughs at it. She tells him to fuck off. And now this mom is staring dead in his eyes, and she's a loose cannon. Not to mention she's huge, right? I'm 6 feet tall. I come in a much larger size than most standard moms do. So this giant, angry, farting, cursing mom is just right down his barrel. He's terrified. And I know he's got that kind of scared feeling in his brain that whatever happens in this moment, it's going to stick with him for the rest of his life. That's a huge responsibility. Someone else's kid is going to remember what I say at this moment for the rest of his life. So I just look in his frightened little eyes and I say, good. And then I leave. I'm a little ashamed of my behavior, to be honest, because what kind of monster uses the men's room at Chuck E. Cheese and then leaves without washing her hands, right? So that was a big mistake, and I do apologize for that. But for that boy watching his back in the men's room, I don't. Stuff about the trans experience. It's not. Most of the trans experience, as any of your trans brothers and sisters in this room will tell you, a lot less interesting than People Magazine wants it to be. But there are a couple things that the cis audiences I usually perform for get a kick out of, like the time I bought my tits. People like hearing about these are farm to table. Okay, so I've been on hormones for long enough that I got my own organics, but before that I had to go store bought and factory. So I don't know if you've ever had to buy tits, but it's hard, especially where I'm at in Texas. They don't have, surprisingly, not a lot of titty stores. And I was Googling it online to see where I could go. Is there anywhere that has a depot? Does Costco, in San Fernando Valley carry them? I don't know. And while I'm Googling, I noticed there is a transsexual superstore, their words, not mine, in London, England. So I was like, okay, my company that I was working for at the time has an office in London. So what I did was I pretended that my colleagues in London were really stupid and just weren't getting it, and that I had to go and train them. And because London has enough of a time difference that nobody could really check on that, I got to go. So I go to London, give my London colleagues a training they didn't need. And then in the evening, by the way, at this time, I had just come out. I'd come out at home, but not at work, so I was in that in-between phase where I'm still showing up at work in a tie and, showing up at night and not much at all. So I was kind of doing a double life thing. Work ends, I go back to the hotel, I change into my old Navy frock, and I'm like, yay, finally get to go buy some titties to fill this out, right? And I go to the address that I found for this transsexual superstore. It is 13.5 Paddington Station. Not shitting you at all, right? So I get there, I get to Paddington Station, the train station, and the train stations in England have that's where they put their strip malls, right? They just have stores in them. And so I'm looking for it, 13.5. I see, 12. I see 13 is some sort of haberdashery, and 14 is a kebab shop, real British stuff like that. And I look in between the two at 13.5, and it's just windows with bars on them and cardboard behind. And I was like, oh shit, we put them out of business. We weren't making enough transgender people this year. But I looked closer and it said open in a tiny little sign. and there was like a buzzer next to the door. So I go up and I push the buzzer, and a little like speakeasy slot goes back, and there's a pair of eyes who look me up and down like, yeah, you're one of us, and then lets me in, right? And I'm like, oh, wow, cool, security. We could use some of that in this world. That's wonderful. So I go inside, and it is nothing but leather outfits and whips. And I'm like, oh, shit. I joined a club. You know what I mean? Like I'm just a nice little suburban girl. I was just here for the Old Navy dresses, to be honestly. And yeah, this is like a whole thing. So I was a little intimidated right away and probably acting a little strange. But the person at the store was like, can I help you? And I'm like, may I have some boobs, please? You want boobs? Yeah. Do you have those? Yeah. She takes me over to a wall of shoe boxes, just all the way, like 2-story wall of shoe boxes. And they're all marked with different sizes, just like shoes. And she goes, what size you want? And I'm like, I hadn't really thought about that. Like I'd thought in general terms about it. Like I didn't want huge ones. Like I said, I'm already 6 feet tall. I don't need any more attention. So I was like, medium to small, just, whatever. I said to her, a B or a C cup, whatever you think I might grow someday. Because I figured she's an expert. And she said, what? And I said, a B or a C cup. And she goes, how many cc's is that? And I'm like, cc's? What is this, fucking ER? I don't know cubic centimeters. I'm from America. Can't you tell? And so I just said small. You don't want big ones? And I'm like, no, I don't. Just give me. So she takes out these like alligator clippers to reach up to the very top shelf and pull off the very top box and brings it down and opens the shoe box and puts it in front of me. And I'd never seen detached breasts before. All of the specimens I'd encountered occur beneath the shoulder blades, right? So like I was like, well, shoulder blades, the collarbone. I haven't seen tits underneath somebody's shoulder blades before. Collarbones, let's say that. But anyway, I'm looking at them just floating there in a box, feeling like I'm at the end of 7, like, I did not know what was in the box. And I was like, well, can I try them on? And she gave me this look like I am the biggest pervert in the whole world. And I'm like, well, okay, nobody's ever asked to try them on before. And she's like, we can't get them dirty. And I'm like, okay, fine. And at this point, I'm just mortified. I'm really upset. Because like you, my expectations for this were totally that, it's 13.5 in a train station in England. This is some Harry Potter shit. I'm supposed to come in here and you put a sorting hat on me and it goes, your boobs are Gryffindor. And then they float off the shelf in the claws of an owl. Like that's how my tits are supposed to come to me. And I'm really upset. By the way, this was 5 or 6 years ago before I knew, of course, that if I put on a sorting hat, it would say something more like, I'm just trying to raise a debate. Why is cancel culture a thing? But that's a different story for a different day. If J.K. Rowling is watching, if she's in this HackOut, by the way, I did the math and I ran the quizzes and all trans kids are Gryffindor and you are Slytherin, just so you know. Anyway, I walk out of the store. I'm kind of doing a Charlie Brown walk real slowly out of the store. And as I'm about to exit, I see a little empty display case that's getting emptied for cleaning. But on the bottom shelf of it are just 2 beautiful little silicone B cups just sitting on the shelf, kind of dusty. And I was like, oh my God, yes, those are the Charlie Brown Christmas tree tits for me. I want those. She's like, you want the floor model? And I'm like, yeah, that's how I got my washer dryer. That's like the deal. I want the deal. Give me the good tits, right? So she gets them out. She dusts them off, which was very kind. And I pay for them. And then she drops them like into a paper bag that you use for wine bottles, just one at a time, like plop, plop, right? Like Alka-Seltzer. And then hands them off to me. So now I am walking down the street, a very conspicuous, tall trans woman in England with what appears to be a giant scrotum, right? It just looks like an enormous paper testicle set. And that's how I got my tits. And I wore those for several years until one of my daughters tried to breastfeed on it and bit the nipple off. So that was the end of that set. They don't tell you about that in parenting school. So yeah, let's. Do you guys want to hear how I got fired from that job? I should do that story while I'm on the roll for like work. You know, in case you really still wanted work. I guess if you didn't want to work, you wouldn't be here. I was that job. It was at a very dusty, like, I can't say who they were because I signed paperwork, but like it's at a very fusty old financial company. Everybody wore ties. The men wear ties and suits, and the women wore whatever they thought would keep them from getting sexually harassed by men in ties and suits, you know, that dress code. And I was so nervous to come out there because like they had never had a trans employee before, and this dress code was really strict, right? So I thought, oh man, they have really fusty ideas about gender and stuff. And I finally got the nerve up to talk to the head of HR, and they could not have been more supportive, which was shocking in Texas, right? So it just goes to show allies are sometimes where you least expect them. They're very, very kind to me. They made it all very easy, but their kindness gave me this huge sense of responsibility, right? Like, I'm the first out trans woman at this financial firm. I should be gorgeous every day that I go to fucking work, right? So like, I'm not even trusting myself to do my own makeup. I'm going like full, you know, Sigourney Weaver working girl. Every day I'm stopping at the mall to go to Sephora to have a gay man put on my makeup because I can't trust myself to do it, right? So I'm like full regalia every day. And it's like so much toll on me. I'm really sweating it out. I hadn't yet realized that there's some wiggle room there. But anyway, that was the mood I was in for my first like 2 months of workout. And I was in a meeting. I was pointing at a pie chart. Do you guys have that job where you point at pie? Probably not. You guys have marketable skills. That's why you're here. So anyway, that's what I did. I pointed at a pie chart and I was finished. So I went back to the boardroom table to sit down. And I got to like there in my sitting motion, you know, right before hitting the chair. And that's when the band on my panties snapped. It just broke, cheap panties. And I went, ooh, as you do, and stood up a little bit. And then they slid right out of my pencil skirt to the floor. And I had to bend down like I dropped a pencil and scoop them up, tuck them into the palm of my hands like a magician's scarf in reverse, and then hold these worn, broken panties for the remainder of this corporate meeting. Now, this would be an embarrassing situation for anybody, but at this point in my transition journey, these were load-bearing panties. You know what I mean? They were doing a lot of structural work, okay? So I was really nervous to stand up in that pencil skirt at this point. I was desperate to make the meeting go on forever. I was trying to do anything I could to prolong it. I was asking stupid questions, which turns out to be a great way to get promoted. But the meeting finally had to come to an end. And so what I did is I just took my laptop and kind of held it in front of my skirt and then kind of waddled around for the rest of the day, sweating, just so nervous. I finally get to my last meeting of the day. And it's with my boss, and it has no subject line. And I go in, and I have no idea what it's about. So I just sit down across the table from my boss. And he said, Karina, I just called this meeting to make sure that you've got everything under control, that you're holding it all together. He knows, right? Like, I'm sure he knows at this point. And I start to have like a panic attack because, you know, I don't know how your panic attacks go, but in my panic attacks, I immediately envision the worst case scenario, which in this case, of course, would be a fear boner, right? Like, I don't care how many T blockers I'm on. Those boners can strike at any time, right? Their fear boners are just, they're like the cobras of the boner kingdom, you know? And what do? You know, like, what was I going to do if I got a boner? I couldn't like run to the women's restroom for safety because that's the last thing the trans women of America need right now is a news story about me kicking in a women's restroom door with no panties on and a chubby, right? Like that would be on Fox News forever. That'd be their new theme song, right? Look at that. So I'm sweating. And my boss thinks it's because I can't handle my job of pointing at pie charts. But I can't tell him the real reason because you're not allowed to lean over the table at work and say, I'm not wearing any panties, right? HR hates that. They literally show you a video not to do that. So I don't know what to do. And finally, I'm just like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I've had a really stressful day because I just got my first period. And he said nothing because he had no idea whether or not that was physically impossible. And of course it is, right? But I had him in a corner. Now, why did I get fired? Did I get fired for lying to my boss about basic anatomy? No, that's on the Texas public education system, honestly. Teach better anatomy. Did I get fired for not wearing panties at work? No. Turns out that's perfectly legal in Austin. And so, we all enjoy our summers here. No, I got fired because I told that joke and it ended up on YouTube and they found it. So I hope that makes you all very excited for your next gig in the workplace. I'm going to tell just one more story and then get out of here. It's kind of a work-related story as well. So what happens is I was between driver's licenses for a while, not for the fun reasons, just I didn't fill out paperwork. But I was taking an Uber every day to get to work. And so I learned that there was one particular driver who I liked more than any other driver. His name was Garrett. And Garrett was the best rideshare driver on the planet. How do I know he's the best rideshare driver on the planet? Because he fulfilled the 3 promises every rideshare driver should fulfill. He drove like a maniac, right? He hopped curbs. He didn't care when people was honking at him. He got places 5 minutes before Google thinks it's possible, right? He's like my baby driver, right? Amazing. Number 2, he played the best music of all time, which of course sounds subjective, but the best music of all time is music that comes off of a CD that was bought at a used record store. Right? Because that music is guaranteed to be overplayed songs from your youth that it's been just long enough since you last heard them that you're kind of excited to hear them again, right? Best music ever. So he played CDs, drives like crazy. And what was the third one? Oh, third one, of course, never spoke a word to me, not once, ever. Nothing. Never had to engage in any chit chat. Beautiful. How did I find this man? How was he conceived? How did they breed him in a lab or something? No, it turns out Garrett's just deaf, right? That's it. That explains everything. And I'm definitely not going to make fun of him for that. I honestly think there should be a federal program. Add this to my political platform. There should be a federal program that takes anybody who's hearing impaired and in need of work and gives them a free car so that they can be a rideshare driver because they're the fucking best at it. And this is a story about how I lost Garrett because I didn't deserve him. So he came one morning and I got out in the car. I was all up in my Sigourney Weaver best. By the way, when I say Sigourney Weaver best, for those of you who are a little younger, I am talking about working girl, not alien. Okay, just so you know, I'm not going out there in tiny panties. I wish. So anyway, I get in the back seat and he's playing, Faith Hill's Breathe, which is her banger. That's exactly, what I want to hear in the morning. I know some of you, might be partisan to another, Faith Hill song or something, but Breathe is that's a daytime song. That's like an empowerment song. I feel like maybe some of you don't know what I'm talking about. So just to be sure, I'm going to play. So just so you can be in the story with me, I'm going to play some Faith Hill here. I hope you can all hear that. Right? This is it, right? This is the one, like, I don't need Shania Twain's feeling like I'm woman bullshit. I just want to goddamn breathe. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I want out of my drive feeling. Oh, man. And is it... Wait a second. Is it just me, or are we listening to the same 12 seconds of Faith Hill's Breathe over and over again because the CD is skipping? Oh, shit. Are we listening to the same 12 seconds of Faith Hill's Breathe over and over again because the CD is skipping in rush hour traffic at 8 in the morning before I've had any coffee and I have no way of telling the driver what's going on? That's on me. I'm monolingual. I don't know sign language. I didn't bother, and that's my fault. But now I'm stuck in this car and I have to listen to the same thing over and over again. I'm caught up in this rush hour, the slow and steady touch of Faith Hill's voice. This is not the way my commute was supposed to be, okay? So like I am losing my mind. I am like, what do? Do I tap him on the shoulder? Is that going to startle him? Is it going to make him drive into oncoming traffic? Am I ready to die to make this song stop? I know that sounds insane, but you've been listening to it for 90 seconds. I had to listen to it for 45 minutes, okay? So by the time we finally get downtown, I am just losing my mind. I finally get to make eye contact with Garrett in the rearview mirror, and I'm like, what's the only sign I can think of to make it stop? And I go like this, right? Turn the volume down. But of course, in a rearview mirror, everything's reversed. So he cranked it. And I was like, no, down, down, down. And he rolls the windows down. So now everybody in the sidewalk, the pedestrians, are looking at our car like, why the fuck is that Honda Civic blasting the same 12 seconds of Faith Hill's Breathe over and over again at the top of its lungs? And I just had to roll down the window and lean out and just say, you try having a vagina. All right, you guys, you've been great. I am totally done. It's time to find out who our winner's on. Mwah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karina.
Thank you.
Great. And meeting the challenge of doing this via remote too. I can't even imagine. Great job, though.
Yes, so that brings us to our next segment. Before we announce winners, we want to take a moment and just reflect on this weekend. In real life, we get a chance to do this as an audience when we're all in one room. So this year, instead, we're doing a gratitude video in which people have had a chance to submit a video to share what they are grateful for in terms of this experience. And I believe we're going to cut to that now.
Or maybe we'll save that for later.
Sounds like a great plan. Do you want to talk about your next points after that video?
Yeah, so we're hoping this weekend that you learned a lot of things, and not the least of which is that you learned how to take an idea from just an idea and to make it into a real product. But beyond that, we hope you learned a few other things as well: how to work with a team, how to do customer validation, how to talk to people, find out if these assumptions you have about the market are actually something that people actually want to buy. You've learned about UX and UI design, perhaps. What else could they might have learned this weekend, Robbie?
Yeah, they might have learned how to assess the value of the marketplace and what it looks like to work with a decentralized team. We live in a largely remote world right now. And so for everyone, it was at least an opportunity to plug into kind of other talents, understand where people were coming from, and ultimately put together something at the end that was presentable. Doing this right now is super hard. So again, that's a skill in and of itself that y'all may be able to use moving forward.
We've learned how to host virtual events.
Yes, we have.
But now, we're going to announce the winners in a second, but I want to give you a tip of what to do after this weekend's over, because you're listening. There are two things we want you to do. One, stay connected. We're going to keep the mural board connected to everybody. We're going to keep the mural board open so you can still access that after the weekend's over. And we're going to keep that Slack channel and that Slack community going after the weekend's over. So stay in there. Make sure you get to know everybody. We're also going to be publishing a lookbook so you get to see all the participants who are at this event and get in contact with each other, make some new friends, follow new people on social media, really build that virtual community. Now, I do want to talk about two conversations that you're going to want to think about having after this weekend's over. First, take some time after this weekend to relax, catch up on your sleep, take a day to reflect on the experience before you decide what you want to do. But then you're going to have to make a decision about whether this team you worked on with this weekend is going to go forward or not. And that's going to involve you having one of two difficult conversations. One conversation is that, yes, you do want to go forward and keep working with that team. Well, then you're going to end up thinking about issues like, well, who's going to be responsible for what? When are we going to put a product into the marketplace? Who's going to be responsible for incorporating business if we're going to have equity, who's going to own what percentage of the company? Those are difficult conversations to have, and it might be easier to avoid them. We're going to encourage you to actually jump in and have them. That's really part of entrepreneurship, and we want you to have the whole experience. On the other side is you decide you don't want to go forward with this team. That's also a difficult conversation to have. Hey, enjoyed the weekend. After my first startup weekend, I had an excellent team of like 14 people was on that team, but I decided I didn't want to take the idea and pursue it any longer. It was a nice test drive for the weekend, but I was done. So then I contacted my team and said, hey, if you want to go forward, that's great. I don't really want to do this. But the thing we want you to avoid is just not having either one of these conversations because it's difficult and pretending that they don't need to happen. Real mature step in entrepreneurship is having the difficult conversations and getting to some resolution. So make sure that you do that. Now, after the weekend, there are ways to stay involved with the community. And I'm going to invite Desmond up to talk about how you can stay involved with StartOut.
Hi there, how's it going? Yeah, so
hey, Desmond.
Hey, so as I mentioned previously, StartOut has so many things to offer. Number one, we are always looking for more organizers to help us out with this event. It is a huge load to bear. Almost all of our organizers are volunteer-based. I have a day job with a corporate company, and I spend nights working on this event. And it's super rewarding. So if you want to work on this event, please contact us at swhackout@gmail.com. You can obviously attend our upcoming events. There are a lot of events happening with StartOut National online as well as with different local cities. So go to startout.org to find those. And yeah, can I get the next slide, please? Yeah, and then help us improve. So everyone who was here for the weekend and went through everything, we are going to send you an email on Tuesday with a bunch of information. One of them is going to be a feedback form. Tell us what we did great, tell us what we did bad, so that next year the new organizers can really hit it a home run with that. We'll also include a lot of other things like the Mira board and whatnot, so that you can reflect on the weekend as well. But we hope to see you as organizers at other events, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Wonderful. And I just saw the note here. It would appear that that video we were trying to play earlier is ready. So we could pivot into that. Taylor the eye in the sky. There we go.
I just wanted to say thank you to all the organizers, experts, and mentors who helped make this weekend extraordinary, and a special big thank you to all the participants who, without them, we wouldn't have had this awesome weekend. It was great watching you all participate and build amazing things in 72-ish hours, a little over. It's absolutely insane and inspiring to watch everyone. Have a great rest of the day.
Hey, I'm Jay, and I just want to give a shout out to my teammate, Tiff. It was just us two, and I was really worried about getting the assignment done, but like Tiff rocked it out. I'm not a very good design person, so they just made the deck look incredible, and I'm totally going to use this in the future. And yeah, I'm really excited for how everything turns out. So I really appreciate Tiff, and yeah, hope we win.
Hey everyone, congrats, we did it. We finished, for some of us, our very first HackOut. We should be super proud of what we've accomplished here this weekend. And special shout out to my group, Art AI. It was a thrill working with you guys. I can't wait to see what everyone continues to accomplish in the future. Hope to see you guys at the next HackOut. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, HackOut. This was an awesome experience. I'm really happy that we got chosen, and I want to thank specifically Sarah and Robert for the direction and the candid feedback on our presentation and crazy swirls. And I really liked the online craziness that's going on. I know it's a lot to juggle, and you guys did a really good job, I think, in keeping it tight and succinct and also fun too. So we just wanted to send our thanks, and yeah. So,
thank you.
Woo!
Hello. I just want to first and foremost say that this has been one of
the most jam-packed, craziest weekends I have experienced in a really long time. And it's been amazing. And I just want to say thank you to Team 10, everybody that I've met and had the opportunity to work with this weekend, and also the startup community and all the mentors and our advisors and everybody that's been a part of this amazing HackOut weekend. And I'm so grateful and excited that I was able to be a part of this community. So thank you so much. And yeah, look forward to tonight's festivities and joining HackOut next year too. Bye.
Hello, HackOut 2020. I am just so grateful to be able to participate as a co-facilitator this year. Y'all have been awesome, so supportive. Seeing all your amazing ideas come to life, it has just truly been a pleasure. So I'm grateful to have shared this experience with y'all, and looking forward to see where everyone goes next.
Hey, HackOut. I got to meet some pretty special people this weekend. First, Team 10, my team, Rise Market. Elizabeth, you're so smart with such a keen drive and focus. Allison, you're creative. You're always so brilliant and fun on chat. Elijah, you're the man with the plan. You know what's going on. You led a great group. I'm so happy to meet some new Austinites as well. To the mentors, Asher, Haley, thank you. Your insights propelled us forward. And Grant, thank you for pushing us. Your questions really had us moving, so thanks. And finally to the StartOut crew, great job, what fun, what a great way to do this. So stressful, but so worth it. Taylor, thank you for the IT assist earlier. And hosts, it was so much fun watching you, and it was entertaining. And I'm glad I got to watch a drag show because I haven't seen one forever. I love queer people.
Just wanted to send a quick shout out to my teammates. Nina, you were there all throughout this weekend. Sirani, we had great conversations to kind of guide the direction of the process. The rest of our mentors, Katie, Adriana, Kelly, Natalie, Nikki, Tony, everyone that kind of helped contribute while we asked a lot of different questions. Desmond for organizing, Tracy for advising us and keeping us on track through this weekend. It was a crazy ride, and I'm glad to have been a part of it. Thanks again.
Hey everybody, sending you a virtual hug here from sunny Chicago, the first sunny day we've had in about a week. I just wanted to send some hugs out to various people, starting with my team. Thank you for bringing this more to life than I had expected. I'm a non-technical founder, so wasn't really sure where my idea could go. So thank you for bringing it forward and showing me what could potentially be done. Also, thank you to all of the mentors who have spent this weekend with us. I know doing this all online isn't, ideal, but it's what we got to do right now. And especially to the organizers, I know this isn't ideal for you to have to organize an event online that you're used to having in person. And I know I'm someone who likes to go to things in person and be with people one-on-one and in life and not just online. But you got to make do with what you can, and you did it. So thank you and hugs to everyone.
Yay, congrats everyone. You made it. We made it. I'm recording from the place where I spent the last 40 hours, and I enjoy every single second of it. I want to thank organizers for doing such an amazing job. This is good tech. I probably feeling more inspired than ever because I finally get the chance to design something not just purely beautiful or something corny, but also something that is meaningful, that is sending message, that is just good, and it feels good to design something like that. Anyways, this hackathon is probably the best experience I had in a while, and thank you for giving this community, for this networking, for inspiration, for this amazing project. Yeah. I wish we were in person so I could hug each one of you. but we'll do it next year. Promise. Now, sachet and wait.
I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who put this event on. I mean, putting on something like this is a huge undertaking, and then to think that you had to do it virtually and manage all that technology and people all over the place. I mean, it was just amazing, and I found it so inspiring, all the good ideas and the way you thought about your audience. And hey, COVID's going on and people are looking for jobs, and you linked up with sponsors and resources that could help us in our journeys. That was just truly awesome in the truest sense of the word. And all the participants, the really incredible ideas, the way people are thinking about what's out there in the world and how we can better serve our communities is just really, really inspiring. I can't believe the hard work and dedication of everybody on every level involved. So thank you so much. It's helped me help somebody else, I hope, and also help me in my own formation of my company that I'm trying to launch. So a very, very heartfelt thank you to everybody involved here. It's an amazing event, and I really hope to be involved in the future. Thanks, y'all. Peace.
Hey, everyone. Super appreciative for this weekend. I've met a team that I absolutely love, networks that are going to take me to the next level, and most importantly, coming into this not thinking I can be an entrepreneur or what that even word meant to me. I'm now feeling confident that I'm going to be able to do more. And this weekend has given me that. Thank you so much.
This is Marco Bergen from Team 12. I just want to say thank you to all the organizers for setting up the event. I've definitely had a lot of fun in the sessions. I've learned a lot of valuable information from them, and not only from them, but also from my team. That it's definitely been such an invaluable weekend. I also want to give a shout out to my team, Team 12, named Find Our Food, for all the hard work that was put into the project, and I wish us all the best. Thank you.
Hello, StartOut, HackOut crew. I just wanted to give a huge thank you to everyone who's made this event possible. It's been amazing to get to talk about the idea that I had and work with a team to build around that idea, and then be in proximity to so many great mentors, in addition to the event organizers. And y'all, I honestly don't know how you did it. It's amazing that you were able to pull this off from one year to another, making it completely remote and still a good experience. So thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Hi, everyone. Taylor McCaslin here, one of your lead organizers. I am so thrilled that you spent your weekend with us. This event is so special to all of us organizers. We've been working on it for over a year. We are so thrilled with everything you've put together and the hard work that you've put in. It is truly a special event to see so many LGBTQ entrepreneurs really coming together, learning together, and hopefully pitching ideas and founding companies that will help us have more LGBTQ leadership in the future. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We hope you had a wonderful weekend, and maybe we'll see you next year. Bye, everyone. I'm muted. There we go. I had too many windows open, so I'm running the scene behind the scenes. I don't know about you, that video was super heartfelt. We do this every single year, getting gratitudes from everyone. Thank you for sharing them. Truly, this event means so much for us. I do want to quickly touch on something for everyone. StartOut has a ton of content available for everyone, and I'm thrilled to announce that all of our participants this evening will be getting StartOut Premium memberships. So thank you, everyone, all of the participants for this entire weekend for your hard work. StartOut offers a ton of content, including an events forum, a forum to connect with other LGBTQ entrepreneurs, an investor portal, research, mentorship. All of this is included within your StartOut Premium membership. Thank you again. And for anyone watching on the live stream, if you want to join the StartOut community, you're welcome to sign up for that at startout.org. I want to keep us moving here, so it is time for us to start announcing winners. So I'm going to add Robbie and Julian back to the stream. Hi, y'all.
Hey, hey.
You're muted, Julian.
Yes. Yes. At long last, the part of the weekend you've been waiting for.
Still muted. What about you, Robbie? Can we hear you?
Yes, I believe so. I believe so. So, yes, we are here. All the buildup, all the drama, all the preambles have been coming to this moment, which I will start explaining with the help of my handy dandy slide deck. I thought that was There we go.
There we go.
Yes, as we mentioned, there will be a total of $5,000 in cash prizes given out to our top performing teams as per the judging criteria. And so without further ado, let's start getting into the awards. So first winning team is actually not a team. It's a person. And this is the Spirit Award. It just goes to someone who really embodies the ethos of HackOut, just brought their absolute A game over and over again, and someone we'd love to see as a potential organizer, amongst other things. And so they'll be awarded a personal gift. And the winner of the Spirit Award is Tiff Brown. So congratulations, a member of Black Healer Exchange. It was a number of the dedicated advisors that came to this conclusion, and absolutely well-deserved. So congratulations on being the recipient of this year's Spirit Award. So now we are going to the fan favorite. This is one that we voted on in Hopin. So this is a $500 shared cash prize. And I believe the winner is
Trid. You can see the poll results up there. Congratulations, Trid.
Wow. Wow. It was a very competitive poll there. So everyone should still feel very, very good about their performance. But it looks like Trid edged out the fan favorite award. So congratulations, y'all. Well-deserved and well-earned. So let's start talking about the placing position. So third place is the $1,000 shared cash prize. And the winner is Art AI. Congratulations. Julian, do you want to share with what the judges thought about their presentation?
Yes, so for RAI, they were third place because they were defined, they were very well defined in their business model. And the judges felt that they understood the industry and their target market better than most.
Congratulations, Art AI. Absolutely fantastic. But now that we've done third place, naturally, it is time to move on to second place. And second place will be taking home $1,500 in shared cash prize. And the second place winner is Queer Healers. Well done, Queer Healers. Julian, what did the judges think about them?
So the judges felt that Queer Healers was a refreshing and innovative idea that tackled a huge gap in the open market. They believe that they could go far beyond HackOut.
Fantastic. Now, the moment of all moments. There's no more hype after this. Actually, there might be. Let's talk about first place. First place is taking home $2,000 in a shared cash prize. So we're really starting to get there. And without further ado, first place is... The winner is, well, actually,
everybody,
because you participated and you made it through HackOut 2020. You did it in a digital environment. You managed to cross all the different time zones to get this done. That is an enormous accomplishment in it of itself, and you should feel incredibly proud. But if we had to pick just one team, it's Trid.
Trid!
Congratulations, Trid, on taking first place at HackOut 2020. Julian, the judge's opinion, if you will.
So the judges said that it was so close between first place and second place, and they had many of the same accolades, but they really felt that Trid, by just a margin, really hit home on everything the judges were looking for and answered the questions really well.
Congratulations to all of our teams, to everyone who presented, and to everyone who participated. There will be follow-up correspondence about the prizes, but now let's talk about something really important.
Yes, so although the event for tonight is going to be over soon, stay connected with the community that you've built. As we said from the beginning, HackOut's about building great startups, but also about building that community, and we hope that you stay connected with this community now that you've joined it. So the Slack channel is going to remain open, and the Bureau board that we've been using all weekend is going to stay open for you to use.
And then to round things out, just a sincere message from me and the rest of us. Want you to speak on behalf of HackOut right now. We love y'all. One of the ways that I speak about the greater LGBTQIA+ community is I call everyone family, and I think we all have that shared sense right here. Y'all have done an amazing job. We've bonded, and now you're about to do the really hard work, which is starting these LGBT companies. And that work is so important because you get to be trailblazers and prove that other people in this space, these underestimated entrepreneurs, deserve a look. So I'm so excited for all of your respective businesses to continue to prosper and blossom. And not only are they helping yourself, they are helping light the way for the next group and the next cohorts of LGBTQ+ entrepreneurs. And last but not least, definitely stay in touch and let us know how we can support you. Reach out to anyone here, DM messages on Slack, emails. We really want to see you succeed. So we're here to continue to help push you forward. And as we've been saying this entire weekend, the best is yet to come. And part of that is staying in touch with this greater team.
Yes, it's been wonderful having all you be part of HackOut. But this doesn't end the night. Actually, we're going to move from this part of the event to our after party, and we're so happy to have Divinity Roxx come and join us for after party. And so we'll run a little promo for that.
HackOut 2020 proudly presents Divinity Roxx.
Hey.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello, Divinity. So happy to have you here at HackOut.
Happy to be here.
So let me do a quick intro for Divinity. Divinity is a Grammy-nominated musician. She combines virtuosic bass playing with an eclectic mashup of hip-hop, rock, and funk that she calls alternative soul. Her career as a bass player skyrocketed after she attended a bass camp with legendary bassist Victor Wooten, where she was invited to join him on tour 3 months after the camp. After touring with Victor for 5 years, she became a bass player and assistant music director for Beyoncé. She has appeared at the Grammys, Saturday Night Live, Good Morning America, and a host of other shows. She is the current bass player in Black Girls Rock Orchestra, which airs on BET, and has played with such artists as Jay-Z, Nona Hendrix, will.i.am, Erykah Badu, Patti LaBelle, and Ledisi, and Gladys Knight. Obviously, that there's more to your life than just that, and we're going to talk about that. But first, and I totally stole this question, you know I did. Would you mind introducing us introducing yourself to us with your instrument?
Absolutely. Hey, some people are born to lead and others are born to follow. Some people are born to spit it, others are born to swallow. Some are born to make the rules, others are born to break it. Some people are born to dish it, others are born to take it. I was born to make it better, whatever, however, never will I. Let them take me, let them make me, cause I know it's a lie. I'm a rebel when I'm right to say we want to decide. If you look into my eyes, what you see, the strongest weapon being the boost, spitting the truth. The trouble you, the falling in need of a parachute. All you want is loot, pollute the fruit and execute anybody if they cause a dispute. Well, screw you, we'll take it to the streets, cause we all bear arms. Take make it to the police, cause sometimes they spread harm. Deep in communities where the sun ain't warm. In the midst of the storm, we resist when they bomb. I'm a rebel, won't you put it to this metal, baby? It ain't no other who can bring it on this level, baby. I go to war every day with the devil, baby, cause I'm a rebel, baby. Yo, I'm a rebel, baby. Yo, I'm a rebel, won't you put it to this metal, baby? It ain't no other who can bring it on this level, baby. I go to war every day with the devil, baby, cause I'm a rebel, baby. Yo, I'm a rebel, baby. Yo, I'm a Roxx. Roxx. Rebel Roxx. I only rock hip hop. Rebel rock Roxx. A rebel rock Roxx. A rebel rock Roxx. I only rock hip hop. Some people are born to lead, others are born to follow. Some people are born to spit it, others are born to swallow. Some are born to make the rules, others are born to break it. Some people are born to dish it, others are born to take it. I was born to make it better, we never hop up and never will lie. Let them make me, let them take me, cause I know it's a lie. I'm a rebel when I'm writing sacred monsters desire. If you look into my eyes, what you see, the strongest weapon being the fool, spitting the truth. The trouble you, the fall in the need of a parachute. All you want is loot, pollute the fruit and execute anybody if they cause a dispute. We'll screw you, we'll take it to the streets, cause we bear arms. Take it to the police, cause you know if they spread harm. Deep in communities where the sun ain't warm. In the midst of the storm, we resist when they bomb. Rebel, won't you put it to this metal, baby? It ain't no other who can bring it on this level, baby. I go to war every day with the devil, baby, cause I'm a rebel, baby. Yo, I'm a rebel, baby. Yo, I'm a rebel, the rebel, rock Roxx. I only rock hip hop. It's the D-I, the V-I, the N-I, the T-Y. I only rock hip hop.
I have to admit, at first, when Katie said, you know, we got a bassist for the event, and I was like, a bassist? Don't we need like the rest of the band? And then, and then I looked up on YouTube, and at 5 seconds in, I was like, oh no, I'm wrong. We don't. This is amazing. So
much. I appreciate that.
So for tonight, I'm so happy to have you. We're going to do this really interesting format here where we're going to go back and forth a little bit, ask you some questions about your life and about your career and pride and family and your identity and activism, and also hear from your music intermixed in there too. So it's going to be a really a great night. So starting off with your career, so you got involved with music. You were involved with music growing up. And then you eventually went to college at UC Berkeley studying journalism. Yes. And then along the way, you took a left turn and became a bassist. How did you get introduced to bass? And what made you fall in love with the instrument?
Well, I recently remembered that my uncle used to play bass in a band when he was younger, and I used to sit on the stairs of my grandparents' basement and listen to his band. He had like a funk band. They would play like Kool and the Gang and all the top 40 hits from back then in the 80s. But when I went to Berkeley, I was hanging out with a guitar player who was actually playing bass at the time. So we're hanging out and I'm freestyling with a bunch of MCs, and because I was a rapper, and we're having parties at my house, because I hooked up with all these musicians. And I say to him one day, man, I'm thinking about going and buying a guitar, and he was like, nah, you should get a bass. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, man, you got a bass player's vibe. You should get a bass. And so over the summer, that's what I did. I went home, I bought a bass guitar, and I brought it back to school. And he promised me that he would show me some things on bass. So he did. And I just took it from there, man. I just fell in love with it.
What about the bass in particular that, like, over guitar, you're like, yeah, this is it?
I didn't pick up the guitar, so maybe I would have fallen in love with that instrument, but I was just I was just enamored with it. I mean, all the music I was listening to at the time, from Outkast, there was like this neo soul revolution happening. Raphael Sadiq, Michelle Ndegeocello, Goody Mob, Organized Noise in Atlanta. There was so much bass driven music, and I had grown up listening to all this music that was driven by bass. The very first concert I remember ever going to was a Rick James concert at Six Flags.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I was a bass player that I realized Rick James was a bass player. Larry Graham, my mother used to bump Larry Graham all the time. Bootsy Collins, James Brown, all this music, the George Clinton, P-Funk, all that stuff was heavily bass influenced.
Okay.
So I guess somehow through osmosis, through my subconscious, I don't know what it was, but when I picked up the bass, I never put it down.
You're like, this is the stuff I've already been jamming to. Now I can make it.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning how to incorporate mentors into my life. And during this weekend, one of the things I like about this event is that we have the people pitch their ideas, and they form teams, and those teams work all weekend. But we also plug them into a bunch of mentors and advisors to help advise them this weekend. And we're hoping those relationships continue well beyond the weekend as well. But so I want to talk to you about mentorship. And I know that you had Victor Wooten, who, by the way, Rolling Stone top 10 bassist of all time, play as a mentor in your life. How did that start, and how has he influenced your career?
I went to Victor Wooten's bass camp. So when you first said introduce yourself by playing, I knew what that was about. That was
I totally stole that.
I didn't play the song I played though for Victor. I went to Victor Wooten's bass camp. I was introduced to Victor through a friend of mine who I could even say was a mentor of mine. His name was Jermaine Rand. He was an incredible guitar player, phenomenal guitar player. And he knew so much about the guitar that I used to bug him all the time and ask him questions about what are modes and all these musical terms that I would come across. I would immediately call Jermaine and ask him, what does that mean? And how can I incorporate that into my playing? So he saw that I was really serious about playing music and that I loved music and wanted to learn more. So he turned me on to this guy, Victor Wooten. He gave me his CD, Victor's CD. And I listened to Victor's CD and I was like, oh man, I'm never going to be able to play like that. I mean, it was humbling. When you listen to a show of hands, it is just phenomenal bass playing. And then Victor came in town. And I mean, there's a long story behind that, but I met him, but he didn't gravitate towards me. We didn't develop a relationship or anything. I ended up meeting a friend of his, Anthony Wellington, who was on tour with Victor. And Anthony mentioned that Victor was going to do a camp. And he also said, hey, give me let's exchange information. He's a teacher. So I ended up applying to Victor Wooten's bass camp online. I get to the camp. The first night of camp, we're asked to introduce ourselves by playing bass. So I play this song, this song that I had written. It was called the D-I, the V-I, the N-I, the T-Y. You want to B-I, baby, you can't see I. D-I, V-I, N-I-T-Y. Or somebody say ow. Right? So I play this song. I had written this rap to it. I don't remember the rap. And nothing really happened. But after the camp, 2 months after the camp, I get a call and Victor asks, that song you played on at the camp, is that what you do? I said, yeah, that's what I do. He said, you got more songs like that? I was like, yeah, I got a lot of songs like that. He was like, would you want to go on tour with me and open up my show playing your songs? And I was like, yeah. But it was so funny because I only had that one song. Didn't have any other songs that I had written on bass. So I had to start writing some songs fast so that I would be prepared for the tour. So it was like this saying yes before you were ready type of thing happening there.
That's great. He decided he's going to mentor you.
Yes, he asked me if I wanted to go on tour with him. I said yes. And it's funny because I always talk about it like he's like, like the master. So you're a martial artist and you get to the point where you feel like you need a master, right? So you go into the mountains, you know how the movie goes. You go into the mountains, you climb all those stairs, you go meet the master, and the master has you do things that are so unrelated to martial arts, you don't understand what it is you're doing. It was kind of like that with Vic. I mean, I just lived with him, I lived with him on tour. We traveled together. I listened to him play every night. You know, it was just a very natural relationship. It wasn't like I'm your mentor, you're my student, or I'm your teacher. It was nothing like that. We were just friends, and we developed this relationship as friends over the years. And now I can say Victor is definitely a mentor of mine. I call him when I have big problems, or when I can't figure something out, or even when I'm excited about something that's happening in my life. I want to share it with him, and he calls me and shares all kind of things with me too. So it's just a really beautiful relationship that we've developed over the years. And I think that's what mentorship is. It's a relationship that develops over time. You know, even some of the young people that I mentor, you know, this takes time to develop the relationship.
First of all, are there other people that you think have been acted as mentors to you? And also, what advice would you give to people if they were looking for a mentor? Like, how do I find somebody to help, coach me up?
You know, yeah, there are so many people. Torres Mateen was the first guy who I toured with. He was an incredible bass player. And I just kind of bum rushed Torres at a gig and was like, I need to learn from you. He thought it was funny. He invited me to play with his brothers. And once I played with them, he invited me to start playing gigs with them. Jermaine Rand, like I was saying, that he was a mentor. He was just so knowledgeable about music, and he recognized that I had so many questions, and they were really authentic questions. And so he was like, "Let me teach her. Let me show her." I think part of finding your mentor is when you are really seeking wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and you are asking the right questions to people who have that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. They recognize that in you, and they recognize something in you that's familiar, because 9 times out of 10, they were that way before they became who they became. They were the young, eager, curious, staying up all night trying to figure out these things, and they see that in younger people, and so they kind of take it upon themselves to say, "Hey, let me grow you up a little bit." Nona Hendrix is a mentor of mine, and our relationship developed over time, just working together. And once we started working together, we sort of clicked, and now I feel like I can call her for anything. And the same thing with her. She hits me up, like, "Hey, listen to this." You know what I mean? So it's
One thing that Robbie mentioned, the co-host here, has mentioned that, like, you show you that passion, you show you have passion, and that will turn people onto you.
Yes, because they know you're serious, you're not wasting their time. And they see potential in you. And that's what you really need. You need someone to see potential in you, and to and to want to grow you up a little bit. Everybody doesn't have that mentor mentality. Even people who have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, who you may want to learn from, it might not be in them to be a teacher of sorts. And so you have to be okay with that too, and learn from them from a distance.
So I don't know, one more question before we get to the next song.
Yeah.
But in a lot of the other interviews you mentioned, encourage people to go out and get out in the world and not just practice in the room. And here at the event, we have, we want people to not just have this idea for a startup, but also, like, go out and talk to real people and see if, like, this idea you have for a startup is actually something that the world wants, and to go out there. But can you talk about the importance of, like, getting out of your room and getting into the world?
You got to get out and play in the world, man. That's how you're gonna cut your teeth and get your chops up. You got to play with other people. There's a completely different type of mechanism happening when I'm sitting in my room by myself playing bass. I'm not interacting with anybody. All the ideas are coming from me and how I feel. When you start interacting with other people, you start getting information about what moves people, what moves you. You learn a lot about yourself by working with other people. So I always encourage my students, or just young musicians, go out, go to the jams, go get on stage. Is that what you want to do? Get on stage and perform. And then take that feedback that you've gotten from there, take it home, go shed some more, and then repeat the cycle. Get back out there again.
Excellent, excellent. So, what's this next song we have for you to play for us?
So funny because I'm sitting here thinking, what should I play? I'm gonna play a song called "Can It Be So Hard." Victor actually he appears on this song.
Oh.
Oh, my computer stopped. Up. Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. We've been doing that this weekend, all weekend long. So
Technology. Wow, that hasn't happened. Okay, let's try that again. The beats, the bass, the rhymes, the beats will free your mind. The future becomes the past, so you can press rewind. I'm out of my mind, out of my mind. I'm from a different space and time. I was born from a whole nother kind. Even if I was declined, I would still continue to shine. Still continue to climb, cause that's the way that we climb. It's the way I was designed, from the hands of the master of time. Then we all go back to the same place that we came from. Rewind. Every time I go back, a little piece of me, guys. Help me to live through my heart, not my eyes. Can it be so hard? Can it be so hard? Can it be so hard? Belief is the master of the seed. We believe that we're free, but we're living in the belly of the beast, the beast. And the beast tells us what to think. And the beast don't sleep, he ain't weak. Don't look him in the eye, don't look him in the eye, cause the eye of the key. Don't look him in the eye, don't look him in the eye, cause it can make you do anything. Don't look him in the eye is the key to the soul, and the soul is the means to everything, everything that it means, everything that it means. Every time I go back, a little piece of me, guys. Help me to live through my heart, not my eyes. Can it be so hard? 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 Every time I go back, a little piece of me, guys. Help me to live through my heart, not my eyes. Can it be so hard? 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 So hard. Sometimes it can, sometimes it can. Can it be so hard? Can it be so hard? Woo!
Thank you. Technical glitches and all, but thank you for powering through, just like we had to do.
Listen, that's what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do. Oh my goodness.
So I have to ask about the Beyonce experience.
Yes, the Beyonce.
Or else I'll be murdered by my peers. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Beyonce experience was what an incredible experience.
Well, what was your favorite part of that experience?
Wow, that's a good question. I think that my favorite part of the Beyonce experience was the growth that I saw in myself through that.
I love this answer.
There were some challenges, there were some rewards, there were some awards, there were there was just there was a lot of collaboration, there was a lot of creativity, there were a lot of new experiences, traveling the world. But I just felt like I grew into who I really was through the Beyoncé experience.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think
You
all of
what?
us did.
Go on.
I think all of us did. Everybody on the tour did.
You went from you eventually became the assistant musical director.
I did.
What was that? How is that job different than how you started out with her?
Well, I started out as a bass player, you know.
Mm.
I was just a bass player. And Kim Burse, who was our musical director, assigned myself and the guitar player to be the assistant musical directors when she was away, you know, because we would go on the tour, we would rehearse for the tour. Kim Burse would be with us during those rehearsals, but when we hit the road, she would go home or go to another job. And so she needed somebody, or, you know, a group of us, or, you know, two of us, to be in this leadership position while she wasn't there. And she trusted us to be able to step into her shoes. There was a lot more responsibility, you know, being the assistant musical director. Whereas before, it just kind of seemed like I was like, hey, I'm out here having fun. Yeah, I'm on tour.
Yeah,
But
what do you do
I had
as
to,
a musical director?
you kind of, there are a lot of different things you do. You make sure that the artist is happy with the show. We once we hit the road, the show kind of changes. The set list may change, and so we help facilitate that. We help communicate that to whoever's running Pro Tools. We communicate with that with the band. We call rehearsals. We call rehearsal times. We sort of make sure that the band is where they need to be when they need to be there. We are like a liaison, in a sense, between the artist and the band. And so there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And I think when you're thrust into any type of leadership position, it changes how you carry yourself. You know, it makes you a little bit more cognizant of what you're doing and how what you're doing influences or affects those around you.
And is that the growth that you felt?
Man, there are so many things in so many ways. I grew as a woman. I grew as an artist. I grew as a musician. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I grew as a leader. Just so many things. Yeah, it was a really beautiful experience.
So you have this Beyonce experience, and it is a major defining point in your life. But then, how do you make sure that you don't get totally defined by this experience, and you keep growing beyond that?
That's a really good question. At the end of the day, you get to define yourself for yourself and for the world. And you do that every day. You do a little bit of that every day by what you put out into the world. There are people who will only see me as Beyonce's bass player, former bass player. And there's nothing I can do about that. But I know that that I am in my own right an incredible artist. I am a good songwriter, a good musician. I'm positive. I'm a mentor. I'm an inspirer. You know, I'm many different things. I'm a producer. I'm an auntie. I'm just so many things. So I define myself for myself. You know.
Awesome. So we're gonna get talk about family in a little bit and your identity. But first, we have "Break Down These Walls." What is the song about?
Oh man, "Break Down These Walls" is a really personal song. So it kind of deals with a little bit with family. I think when I was younger, I would have these walls up around myself, thinking that I was protecting myself from the world or from negative energy or negative people. And I realized that I needed to tear these walls down so that I could, in effect, be affected by all the good that was waiting for me. Because I realized I was blocking myself. I was blocking my blessings. I was blocking my opportunities with this false wall.
All right. Well, let's hear it.
I just wanna make it in the world today. It takes everything I've got. I don't got nothing else to give. Remember when I shut down, shut everybody out. Constructed the concrete around me, they can't get in and I can't get out. Nobody could touch me to hurt me, but I would lash out. Trap with my fears in the darkness of doubt. I doubt that I knew that I could feel so helpless. I couldn't stop it, I was 7, I was helpless. And we never talk about it, that's reckless. What a mess that I never got dealt with, but I dealt with the blame. Left you the hurt and the shame. I was supposed to protect you, I failed, and nothing in our life was ever the same, ever the same. If I could write all of my bones, take it back to 318, cause that's home. Going through boxes of death, stuff alone. I was so weak, I was acting so strong, acting so hard, why it take me this long? Why was I forced to face this in this song? So many heartaches and heartbreaks, my heart takes no prisoner zone. Wanna stay buried alive. Took out the 9, counted to 10. Wanted to end the state I was in, the skin that I'm in, I never fit in. No matter how perfect I speak, always received as a beast when it's dark and I'm walking the street. The trigger I couldn't release. Thought of my nephew and niece and I put down the peace. Caught in the fire, caught in the rain. I needed somebody to stop the pain. Caught in the fire, caught in the rain. I needed somebody to stop the pain. Back up, but don't you back down. Gonna tear the walls down. Gone too far to go back now, I can't go back. The beds are made, I lay me down to sleep. Pray to God my soul to keep. Pray I walk the way that leads inside of heaven's gates. It's time to stop the pain, it's time to start again. Time to let go of time to get out of the depths of the pain. Time to let go of the shame. Time to be free, be me. Who cares if they ain't on my team when I leave? Blow out the last breath I breathe. I pray as my daddy I see. 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 My daddy I see. My daddy I see. Pray as my daddy I see. Pray as my daddy I see. Pray as my daddy. Caught in the fire, caught in the rain. I needed somebody to stop the pain. Caught in the fire, caught in the rain. I needed somebody to stop the pain and break down these walls. Break down these walls. Break down these walls. Break down these walls.
Oh, I'm misty-eyed with that one.
Really
Thank you. What?
That was a really personal one, you know.
Yeah.
Record was really personal.
You know, with an LGBT event, like I think we all know about putting up walls to protect yourself, and then later realizing how restrictive those walls can be to your happiness. So, yeah, I feel that. And I, you know, so in a similar vein here, like your album Impossible starts with this awesome voicemail from your mother, which she seems like just the most supportive person in the world. What is your coming out story?
Wow, you know, it's really interesting because my mom is gay and she identifies as lesbian.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a really interesting family. My mother and father were married for 20 years, so I grew up with my mom and dad.
Huh.
Yeah, so I didn't really have to come out. I came out to my high school counselor. That was the first person. Though I knew my mom was gay, it was something that we didn't talk about when we were kids. When I was younger. So I actually came out to my high school counselor. I went to see a counselor. My high school counselor, I can't remember her name. She was this Black woman who had long dreadlocks down to her butt, and I thought that it was a safe place for me to come out and tell her that
You know,
Yeah. Do you remember why you decided, hey, I gotta tell you this today?
I was going through a lot. I'm
Okay.
really going through a lot. My mom at the time was doing drugs at that time.
Mm.
And so my family was falling apart. I was the oldest. And so I was kind of like the mom in a sense. And I think the pressure of that, and I was always a really good student. And so there was just, I had all this responsibility on me at the time. And I was starting to act out, and I was this frustrated artist who was in an international baccalaureate program at an international study school that had just merged with the performing arts school, but I couldn't be in the performing arts program. And
Where
so
was this located?
this was in Atlanta. So it was just there was a lot going on, and I felt like I needed to say that part out loud, that I'm gay. And so I did, to this counselor. And I swear to God, she literally, like, she almost passed out. And I was like, well, probably shouldn't have told her.
Not feeling as safe as I thought it was going to be 2 seconds
Well,
ago.
so sitting there like, whoa, silence. Like, you could cut the silence with a knife. And so after this long silence and this just look on her face, she says, maybe you should talk to the other counselor. I look at the other counselor. The other counselor was this motorcycle riding white woman named, I'm not gonna say her name, but she was, and she was mad cool. But I was like, I don't know if I should talk to her about this, But I did, and we ended up becoming such good friends. She was such a great mentor. She guided me through the whole thing. I had all those questions. Why do I have to, why is this the life that I'm going to have to live? And, can I just not be, or, can you help me not be, and she just kind of helped me settle with it. This is who you are. This is just come to grips with this. It's okay. She made it okay. And so throughout the rest of high school, she really helped me. She helped me a lot in so many different ways with everything I was going through, because it was that, but it was also this other thing, this home life that was really tumultuous at the time. But my mom, she recovered like champions do, and she's been clean for like 20 something years now.
Wow.
And
Wow.
she is the biggest cheerleader. I mean,
Wow.
yeah. That was a lot.
That's an amazing story, though. That's amazing that you also, like, even though the support was there, the support came through. That's super lucky.
Oh, and I needed it. I was, 17, and I needed that affirming from somebody, and she certainly gave it to me.
So recently, a friend, I've got a small group of people who kind of help each other out, coach each other up, and one of my friends in that group recommended a book called The Ultra Ego Effect. And the idea of that book is that you need to identify your ultra ego, who has the power to do the things that you don't think you can do yourself. And I heard about that, and I think there's some parallels there between that and Divinity Roxx as an identity. So can you talk about the birth of Divinity Roxx?
I mean, it took a while to birth Divinity Roxx. The name Divinity came to me when I was about 12. It became my rap name. But I didn't really go by the name. It was a heavy name to carry when I was young, and so I wasn't sure if I was worthy of the name Divinity. And I tried to change my name so many times, but I couldn't. It just kept coming back to Divinity. Roxx, it's so funny. Where Roxx came from? A culmination of my best friend, me, my rebelliousness, my just rah attitude, the fact that I really got deep and heavy into rock music when I started playing the bass. I think Divinity Roxx really was born in the Beyoncé moment. When I got to that place where I was her bass player, I was like, I'm gonna change my name. I'm Divinity Roxx. And so Divinity Roxx is definitely this superhero. She's a lot, boy. She can be she definitely has catapulted me into the stratosphere with her fearlessness, her creativity, and I think my desire to always learn something kind of fuels her fire to, okay, now that we've learned it, let's go use it. You know? So yeah, Divinity Roxx.
Yeah, it goes back to that growth you mentioned earlier. But you had this like armor sitting there in the corner that you weren't quite ready to put on yet, and you reached that point of growth where you're like, okay, I can wield that now.
This is the time. Yeah, I mean, Beyonce gave me this solo in her show. I was so scared. She gave me a solo where I go out with my bass by myself on stage in front of thousands and thousands of people and play, just me and the bass. I couldn't even rap or say a poem or anything like that. It was just play the bass. And that was one of the scariest times in my life, preparing for that. But Divinity Roxx was like, yo, we
we got this.
Yo, we about to go out here and kill it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, I want to ask you another question before we get to the next song. But it's quarantine. Quarantine time is rough for single people like me.
I do check on my single friends. I call them up, yo, I just got to check on you, see how you doing.
I feel it was like it was musical chairs and music stopped and I didn't have a place to sit. And I'm a sucker for love stories right now. And you have a super cute love story. Would you mind sharing how you and Yanni met and why you include her in some of your music?
Yanni and I met on the Beyonce tour.
Everything stems from the Beyonce.
Life changed after that tour. She was a dancer and I was a bass player, and we started hanging out on the road. And we're still hanging out 13 years later. We just got married last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 2019. I don't know what we would have done if this whole thing had happened the year we got married. We probably, it would have been crazy. We know a lot of people who had to postpone their weddings and all of that type of stuff. But yeah, we met on the Beyonce tour. And it's funny because you talk about the Impossible album, and the Impossible album, I believe, was the first album where I actually acknowledged that I love women and that I am, that I'm gay and that I have relationships with women, intimate relationships. And I had never done that in my music before. I wanted this to be like the most honest album that I had ever written because I initially thought that it was going to be my last album. Yeah.
Why?
I was really artists go up and we go down, and then we're happy and we're like, life is great and we're the most amazing people on the planet. And then other times, like, why am I in existence? Why do I write music? Does anybody care? Am I just screaming these songs out and nobody's listening? Sometimes you feel that way. And so I was feeling that way at the time in 2016. And I was like, you know what? I have one more album in me, and I'm gonna give it my all on this one. So those records are so personal, and I feel like they're some of the best songs I had ever written.
So we got next song is Miracle in Question. What is this one about?
So Miracle is the song you mentioned about my mom, with my mom on the voice note. When she sent that voice message, I said, I have to save this. I just saved it and saved it on a hard drive somewhere. And when I wrote the music for this song, this song, it took a while to develop this song. It went through a lot of different incarnations. But finally, a good friend of mine in Belgium, Babel, and I let him listen to it, and he started playing the chords, and the vibe of the song changed completely. And I was like, I need that voice note from my mom to start this off. And I just thought that would be the most beautiful way to start the album, because what you feel when you listen to that message is so real and so authentic and such a personal. It was really personal. Nobody else was supposed to hear that. She sent that message to me for me because I needed it in that at that time, in that moment. And she knew it because she had just seen me, and she could tell that I was not sure about what was happening in my life, what was going to happen in my life. And so she left that message when I left town, and I'll play it right now, as a matter of fact. The next, and then I'll talk about the next song.
Hey, Divinity, it's Mama. I was thought about you all night and just got busy and wanted to call, but started to text, started to hit you on Facebook, but I just didn't. I wasn't trying to bug you, but yeah, I wanted to connect with you before you left, but you know, you be busy, and it's all good because you do your part. That's important. I appreciate that. But I love you, and you're definitely in my prayers, and I just pray that this year definitely your year. I really believe it. To prosper in your business and your dreams. So hold on, get ready for the ride, and I'll see you soon. And always expect a always expect a miracle. Always expect a miracle.
I was conceived on a prom night, so I'm a celebration. Mom and dad was 18, they didn't have Nathan, but love, a baby girl, and expectation. And she could be anything, and she would be amazing. Pops had a dream that I would come, and I dreamt that he would die from the motorcycle ride. It tore me up inside. But I'd rather say goodbye at your bedside than watch you live in hell. Love intensified, dreams intensified. Mom said I'm a miracle. I look in the mirror, but all I see is you staring over my shoulder. I'm just getting older. Then I hear you whisper, baby girl, it ain't over. So I continue to dream, continue to scheme, and try to figure out just how to make this cream and how to shine my light on my own high beams. I walk the path of right, I never leave. I'ma take the road less traveled by, and I'ma take the slow road to where you are, cause that's how we do, and I'm expecting a miracle for you too.
Always expect a miracle. Always expect a miracle. A miracle.
Always expect a miracle. My mom sends messages like that all the time. Super inspiring.
My mom does too. Hi, Mom. I love you, by the way. Sorry I haven't called you today.
There's nothing like having that mom that just loves you and supports you.
Mm-hmm.
And even despite the time when she wasn't really there, you know, when we spoke about earlier about her being having this drug problem,
yeah,
she still continued to be there in a way. And there were times when she wasn't there, and I knew that it was because something else had taken control of her. But as soon as she shook that, she right back at being at the games with a big sign. My mom who would come to the game, she would have made a sign, and she would sit out there with her big sign with me and my sister's name on it, screaming our names. Hit the ball! Yeah!
What game are we talking about?
Well, I used to play softball. I was
Okay.
the shortstop, softball team, basketball too. She was just, It was embarrassing, but we love her.
In the way that's adorable as you look back at it.
Yes, exactly. It was not adorable back then. I'm gonna be the same way though. I'm annoying.
That's my baby.
Awful. I want to play Question for you. Question
Yes.
is my favorite
What is-
songs. I wrote this song for Yanni.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a song for my wife.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm just gonna play it. If you had a question, I don't have a question. If I love you, 'cause I do. So there is your answer. If you need an answer, I know you feel it too. I know you do. 'Cause all I think about is you, me, we, us, 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 us. You, me, we, us. Don't ever think that I ain't coming home to you, 'cause I'm coming home to you, girl. Don't ever think that there is something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you, girl. Don't ever think that I ain't coming home to you. I'm coming home to you, girl. Don't ever think that there is something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you, girl. I love you. We, us. You, me, we, us. You know that I be doing shows a bunch of time on the road. I be locked up in studios for hours, no change of clothes, no shower. You hold your nose and nod your head to my pros, and you can feel my excitement. It's the same with my woes. I'm wearing thin with the state that the people who share my skin is in. You just sit back, don't interrupt me, 'cause you're listening. You heard it all before. I get mad as a lion's roar. That could have been my sister's door. The cops came knocking for, man. You know how crooked them cops is, baby. You know. I know I wasn't even supposed to be talking about that. I'm supposed to be talking about how much I love you and adore you and miss you and stuff, you know, but you know that I'm ADD, my mind it runs free. I try to reel it in, but you just sit patiently when I can never find my keys. You know where they be. You got the key to my heart, and I'm not talking Tiffany's. And even when we're apart, I still feel your energy. I kind of miss when we were touring. Our nights was never boring. We were soaring, drinking sake in Osaka. Probably had too much vodka in London proper. You, me, we, us. I have a question. Oh, what you see? Oh, I'm coming home to you, girl. Don't ever think that there is something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you, girl. Don't ever think that I ain't coming home to you. I'm coming home to you, girl. Don't ever think that there is something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you, girl. Don't ever question what you see in the mirror. Ooh, allow me to make it a little clearer. Oh, silly girl, are you listening? Oh, baby, can you hear her? Yo, you are everything. If you can't see the spell you put on me. Yo, you and me. Oh, you, me, we, us. Don't ever think that I ain't coming home to you. I'm coming home to you, girl. Don't ever think that there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you, girl. Don't ever think that I ain't coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. You, me, we, us. Oh, you, me, we, us. Hey.
Yes, us, yes. Love us, love us, love us, love us, love us, love us. Love us.
That's great. And I've seen the music video of that has you and Yanni in it, right?
Yes.
Talk about recording that video.
Oh, we were in LA at the time. What was she out there doing? She was out there working. Maybe it was pilot season, and she had rented this really funky little apartment, and I was traveling, and so we were just kind of like, hey, let's shoot this video. A good friend of mine was out there. We had a bunch of cool couples in the video. All of the couples represented couples who were in the arts, and so you had one partner who traveled a lot and was always out on the road, coming home, and just wanted your partner to know that no matter what, I'm coming home to you, no matter where I go. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
It's a very nice video to experience what that's like. So
Not that video.
So you have all this, and it's good. You have this big foundation of love from your mother, from Yanni, from your mentors that support you, and you need that now because we're in 2020, and has 2020 been a year?
Yeah, that's a dude.
And I want to talk to you about the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff that's been going on this year, and how that has affected you personally, and how that affects you as an artist on and off the stage.
It's on everybody's radar
Mm-hmm.
right now, but it's always been on my radar. Growing up in Atlanta, I grew up in the birthplace of Dr. King, so being acutely aware of what it's like, and I mean, I am a Black woman in the world, being acutely aware of what that means. Activism.
Has race been an issue? Has it come up more in life?
Has always been at the forefront of who I am and how I see myself in the world. I'm happy that a lot of people are starting to pay attention. My grandfather couldn't vote. Like, think about that. My grandfather. I sit and listen to stories that my grandfather tells. And what's really interesting is that my grandfather doesn't really talk much about how tough it was for him back then. You'll get a little bit of it here and there. My grandfather was an electrician. He had gone to trade school to be an electrician.
Still in Georgia?
No, in South Carolina. My grandparents are from South Carolina. He realized there were no Black electricians in South Carolina because one of the barriers to become an electrician was that you had to work as an apprentice under someone else. But all of the electricians were white, and they were certainly not going to allow my grandfather to work up under them. So he moved to New Jersey and found that it was the exact same thing, the exact same problem. So he worked. My grandfather did all kinds of jobs. He was a short order cook. He talks about being working at a dry cleaner. And becoming the highest paid person at the dry cleaner. And when he found that out, that he was the highest paid person, he quit the job. It seems like there's no room for growth. I'm going to tell a short story about him. I'm going to try to make it short. he ended up becoming a janitor at Bell Labs. He found that Bell Labs was looking for electricians, and he was an electrician, so he kept applying for the job, and he kept being told that he wasn't qualified for the job. And he wasn't qualified was because he hadn't had that apprenticeship. So he asked the lab, he said, well, if you have a license, can I be an apprentice under the lab? And whoever he talked to said, "Well, I mean, you do have a point there, but I'm gonna call you back." So they called him back and they actually called him in for an interview. And in this interview process, he was given the task to make something run. He always said, I always, in my mind, I see it as an engine, but it's some sort of a mechanical device that he needed to make it work. And nobody on the team at the time could make it work. Nobody in the lab could do it. And he was up against all these young kids who had just graduated from MIT and all these, college degrees and all these things. And my grandfather, to make a long story short, got the thing working in like 2 days.
All right.
And he was hired at Bell Labs. He ended up going and creating a patent for the company, which is really amazing considering all the obstacles he faced and all the man, he had a really tough life. And so I want to honor him always in movement. I want to teach young kids that, listen, man, there's still a fight to be had. And so we got to get out here and we got to make sure that all of the progress that's been made isn't just wiped away in 4 years or 8 years or 16 years. We've come a long way as African Americans in this country, but there's still a lot of fight and still a long way to go. So I am down for the Black Lives Matter movement. Yeah, man, it's heavy. It's heavy with the police and that whole racket. Yeah, it's a lot. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I said I need to just stop listening to. I mean, my heart was hurting. I was listening to the 1619 Project, and I was listening to a segment about a group of farmers, this young farmer who was systematically denied loans over and over and over and over again until he lost over 5,000 acres of land. And I almost just stopped and cried. Because what do you do when you are constantly and systematically denied access? It make you want to holler, man, and make you want to fight. But we got to be smart about how we fight. Thurgood Marshall fought through the courts, but now we're living under a president who's changing the courts. We aren't even talking about that. And he's putting people in lifetime positions who, if we did try to go through the legal system now, what's our recourse? Would that strategy work right now? Ooh, anyway, okay. I'm sorry.
Well, to bring that back to the positive forces that are out there, though, you mentioned in a other interview that one of your favorite performances was being involved with the Women's March.
Yes, I really enjoyed the Women's March. Woo, that energy, man. See, that's what I mean. There are movements. These movements of people, it's going to be the people. It's not going to be the politicians. It's going to be us. It's going to be us out in the streets demanding a better life for ourselves. It's going to be us who have to run for these offices and take the power back. We have to take back the government. It's a government for the people, by the people. We are the people. So we have to do the work. And I think I'm so proud of the young people who are out here doing the work and organizing and strategizing and building coalitions and building communities that continue to lift the people up, you know. So the Women's March was one of those spaces where there was just a group of people who were on one accord and who were fighting and striving for the same things, and it was just so much positive energy. It was just it was beautiful to have, and there was a bunch of different types of people. It was diverse. It wasn't just one group of people. There were several different types of people coming together under one accord, and that's what we need to see more of. That's what America was built on. That's what America's about. You know, so yeah.
And you use your music as a vehicle for this too. You have a message in a lot of your music.
I do. I believe that music is extremely powerful. Music has the power to penetrate the mind, the soul, the psyche, and give people an opportunity to see the world in a different way. And so I think, you know, it's important for artists to reflect the times and also encourage and sort of lead the way. Lead the people with what you want the world to look like. Show that in your music.
Mhm.
Touch people's hearts. Music is a heart to heart transmission.
Mm.
And I think that's what makes it so powerful.
Mm.
What about you? I mean, you know, haha. Black Lives Matter movement
Oh.
affected this year?
What was the question?
How has the Black Lives Matter movement?
That's it. You know, I got a friends that I talked to, and I'd say initially I did not want to engage with it. That it was like, this has been, you know, it's been difficult being Black in America, you know, my whole life, you know? And so just because a bunch of people discovered a few weeks ago that there's tragedy out there, and have decided to all of a sudden get engaged, doesn't mean that, like, it's now my responsibility to put down everything I was doing. Because I've been coping with this my whole life. And I'm glad you just tuned in, but like, I don't know, it was difficult to engage at first. And then I realized that there was a pain that I was feeling by not engaging, by avoiding it. That there, there's a certain level of like there's a certain level of you know, just indignity that you get anesthetized to, and you don't want to look at because it's just easier to try and go about your day without thinking about it. And by people drawing attention to that, you're like, oh, now I got to think about, that again. And so it was easier to not to. But then once I engaged with it, it's like, you know what? Okay, if we're all here, we're all doing this, then I'm going to do it too. And beginning to talk about it then did help. I find that for myself, I've got a Black father and a white mother. And so my identity has been a struggle for a long part of my life, not just with the sexual orientation, but also with race. And a lot of times I'm the only, colored person in the room. And I have to explain things to people like, this is why this doesn't work, or this is why this is offensive, or this is why. And I didn't want to do that. Sometimes I just don't want to be that person explaining stuff out. But when I started doing that, I've discovered that it does. If you get to a constructive conversation where somebody, you are able to enlighten somebody a little bit about some of the oppression, then you feel you made the world just a little bit better that day. And so it does help to engage.
Yeah, I can do that.
Sorry, that was a long answer to a question, but
no, it was honest though, and I get that. Just sitting and talking with groups of my friends who were getting these weird text messages or calls from white people who were like, "Do you feel like this? Do you feel this way?" I had no idea that you were having this experience, that we were living these completely parallel lives. Your life does not look like what I thought it looked like, or I had no idea. So it was, and they felt the same way. They were upset. They didn't want to engage. It was a lot. It was a lot to have to explain to people. But it's, I think that there's going to be a lot of growth that comes out of this for a lot of people, and I think that this pandemic has given everybody an opportunity to grow. If you haven't grown even just a little bit after all this time being home and starting to realize what's really important and what really matters in the world, then you've missed out on on a huge opportunity to change life. Yeah.
It gives us an opportunity to say, okay, how am I going to be a constructive force in this? Given all the hardship, like what can I do to actually contribute in a positive way to build the society I want to see?
Yeah, it's to inspire people to be that change. There are some people who probably never marched before, never thought about going out and protesting and engaging with people who are out there protesting. And they see that, wow, there are like-minded people in the world, and these people that I can engage and learn from, learn with, grow with, relationships to be made, communities to foster. So it's been an interesting time. I mean, yeah.
So we got some songs coming up here.
Yes, we do.
Back to oh yeah, there's music.
This song "We Are" was inspired by. It's funny because when I wrote this song, I really just wanted to write something impactful. I have always wanted to be an inspiration in some way, shape, or form through my music, through my life. And when my guitar player Omar and I sat down to write, we sat down with a very clear intention that we wanted to write something that was meaningful and impactful. And I believe we really did that with the song "We Are." So I'll share that with you. What's the color of love? Greens and yellows, hues and blues, the world is yours. This is the feeling we give when we know that we're floating above. My heart is pounding with passion and beat. Can you feel it in yours? Can you feel it in yours? The future's in my hands. If I poured it into love, ain't no telling when I'ma get back. If I won't get it back, can you feel the buzz? Who am I to judge? I only come from love. We are traveling now at the speed of light. Can't you feel the rush? Will love really conquer all? Is a gun really worth the fall? Are we all so afraid of what we don't understand that we're willing to shoot without pause? What if you were that one who could change the course? Would you step into your greatness? Would you? Can you feel the force? We are what we're waiting for. Put your hands in the sky and reach for the stars. We are what we're waiting for. Put your hands in the sky and reach for the stars. If the sky is the limit, let's fly through the limit. My feet are on the ceiling, so of course I'm feeling lifted. My head is in the clouds, can't feel the ground. I was racing through the past, but the future's here right now. One V, one heart, one life, one love. One of you plus one of me equals one way before long, before long. My heart is pounded with passion and beat. Can you feel it in yours? Can you feel it in yours? Will love really conquer all? Is a gun really worth the fall? Are we also afraid of what we don't understand that we're willing to shoot without cause? What if you were that one who could change the course? Would you step into your greatness? Would you? Can you feel the force? We are what we're waiting for. Put your hand in the sky and reach for the stars. We are what we're waiting for. Put your hands in the sky and reach for the stars.
What we're waiting for. Put your hand in the sky. Reach for the stars. We are. What we're waiting for. Put your hands in the sky. Reach for the stars. We are the ones we've been waiting for. June Jordan was the first person to say that. June Jordan was my professor at UC Berkeley. She was my poetry professor. And it wasn't until after I wrote the song that I realized she was the first person to say, "We are the ones we've been waiting for."
That just stuck in your head for years, or?
No. I think, I mean, a lot of people have said that over the years. I didn't associate it with June at all. It was sort of this incredible coincidence. I think Barack Obama said it a lot. He was the last person that where it stuck in my psyche. We are the ones we've been waiting for. But when we started playing that melody, it was like I kept saying, "We are, we are, we are." It was like, "We are, we are, we are," and I'm like, what's the rest of it? What we're waiting for. That's it. It was like the song was writing itself. It's just one of those things that happens. I heard L.A. Reid say God was in the room when he recorded some of his favorite recordings. And I feel like with We Are, God was in the room when we wrote that.
And a note about that recording, you have a video for that that has a lot of people in it.
Well, yes, that was the recent. So a company that I work with, an incredible microphone company, Austrian Audio, wanted to do a remix of We Are. And they wanted to invite all of their artists. They wanted to do this come together in this moment where everybody is at home by themselves. There was a lot of that. People wanted to feel connected to each other. And they felt like that song was a perfect way to bring a group of people together, a group of artists together. And so we put it together. It was really great. Now when I hear it, I hear that saxophone come in. Yeah, that was cool.
Well, thank you so much for this conversation today, this time with you and sharing so much of your life.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you, Julian. This is an incredible event and an incredible organization you guys have here. So
yeah, well, much credit to Taylor. Taylor, come up from backstage.
Taylor, don't hide.
He's been operating the entire scene.
This whole performance has just been truly spectacular. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. This has been awesome.
Hey, Desmond.
You're muted.
That was amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's always so weird, doing this now at home because the band, I am an artist that likes to improvise. And so like I'll just start doing something different and the band will say, "Oh, cool, that's where we're going." But when I'm playing to the tracks, I can't do that.
By the way, what is in this room that we're looking at right now? I wanted to ask that, but like you
here?
got some. What's behind you?
Just these small things.
These are some of my favorite basses. I played this bass on the Grammys with Beyoncé. The bass behind it is the bass that I actually got the Beyoncé gig with. And the bass behind that is the bass that I played my very first Beyoncé gig with. It's so funny. My wife actually has a lot to do with why this room looks so cool because she has such a great eye. This is a
a subsequent Moog key bass. There's a lot of things in front of me that you guys can't see. But yeah, I got a little ukulele in the corner. I got a record collection over there. All these pictures on the walls are things that inspire me. Victor Wooten is right here. Boom. James Brown is over there. That drum head is from Questlove.
Wow.
This is a picture of me. My first ad in a bass magazine. More basses. This was a wedding present. This bass right here. Yeah, so this, you see that little thing in the corner? That's a plaque from the Beyoncé tour. Yeah, so this is where I feel the most comfortable.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for your time today, for taking the extra time with us. I'm sure the recording of this is going to help a lot of people and inspire folks, and so I appreciate all your openness tonight. Is there anything that you wanted to shout out, to promote that's coming up that people should know about, to tune into? I know that you want people to register to vote, most definitely.
Yeah. Sign up to my newsletter at divinityroxx.com. The song We Are that you just heard is a finalist in a Songs for Good contest. And you can go vote for it at songsforgood.org. Please vote for the song. I made the top 10 finalists. And the contest is basically we're looking for a new song for democracy, a new anthem for democracy. And so We Are is one of the final songs. That would be great. Yeah, follow me on Instagram, Divi Roxx, and Twitter. I got to do that. And, stream me on Spotify. Yeah, all that good stuff.
Great. Well, yeah, wonderful. Yeah, thanks again for being a part of this event.
Yeah, I can't think of a better way to have closed out such a special weekend. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
Truly.
You all are beautiful.
All right. Well, with that, we'll say good night.
Good night. You guys deserve some rest. You did a great work today.
Thank you.
All right.